Time for street talk. Right, okay. I thought Corrie was quite good this week. Do you think Corrie was quite good this week?
You just restarted this recording so you could say street talk. I said street talk, and then you turned it off and deleted it and went, right, I'm ready now. I didn't
think you said street talk time with enough enthusiasm, Gemma.
I did.
You can say it again if you want.
Street talk time.
Street talk time. Right, yeah, I thought Corrie was quite good this week. They're just, you know, with all this stuff with Leo, it's like, is he going? Is he not going? My nerves are fraught at the moment.
I know. Will he please leave and go to Canada?
Yes, and go to Canada, Leo, for heaven's sake. Well, and also, my nerves are also fraught because storylines merged this week. I love it when they do it, but I hate it when they do it for podcasting purposes. So what we're going to do first is start off with the Reid In The Red storyline, just about Stephen doesn't have any money. Then we'll move on to Reid In The Red Head. Because it almost Reid In The Red Head's bed this evening if it hadn't been for Gemma walking in there.
His name is doing the accounts.
She was doing the accounts almost back there, wasn't she? Then we will have the Kaadi storyline, or is there the A Kelly, or whatever other names we call them. I quite like Kaadi. I like all of them. They're
Kaadi's their name now.
Kelly and Aadi are ripe for storyline potential. Title. Right, next one, Gemma, you got to choose between two terrible storyline titles.
Go on.
I wasn't ready for this week. I loaded up my notes document this evening and I realised that my notes were all out of order. I didn't come up with storyline titles for anything.
Slacking off.
But they're still all jumbled up, so I apologise in advance, everybody. So I had to come up with storyline titles.
Yeah.
So there's a protest going on next week, yeah?
Yeah,
with Nadeem Atallah. Right? So that's my background to this. Okay. Nadeem Atallah.
Yeah.
Common name. You know when they come up with names for new Coronation Street characters, like, we can't call it that. There's already been one called that before. There's already
somebody
living in Manchester. Has there been a Nadeem Atallah before?
There's somebody in Manchester called Nadeem Atallah's like, look, it's not me. I don't know why.
I love the environment, me.
I
recycle
hate pollution.
And everything. Right, so Nadeemonstration.
Okay.
Like a demonstration.
I love it.
Or I'm Atallah on you.
Oh.
I'm Atallah on you.
Okay, I get it, yeah.
Which one do you like? How are we going to call it?
Nadeemonstration.
Nadeemonstration it is then.
I am not going to call this person Nadeem Atallah.
I know you're not. You're going to...
I'm going to call them Adele because that's the best name.
Context?
Do people not know where Adele comes from? Is when... Oh, what is his name? The Scientology one.
Tom Cruise.
No, it's the other one.
John Travolta.
He introduced, I can't remember what her real name is.
The one who sang Let It Go.
Oh, what's her name?
I don't know.
He didn't know what her name was. He called her Adele Dazeem, and ever since then, I just love that name.
So that's what you're going to be calling Nadeem Atallah. Fine. I prefer I'm Atallah on you, but we'll agree to disagree on this. Corrie's summer party is next, which is my rubbish storyline title for Summer's birthday party this week. Then we have got a little bit of return of the What A Dyl-emma story. This is
Adina
awful.
Menzel,
This is
not
awful.
Adele Dazeem.
A play for Wendy. Is Ken making a play for Wendy? She's going to be in a play, but is he making a play for her?
What's Ken doing for the play?
He's not doing anything for the play at the moment.
Oh, okay.
But he seems to be making a play for Wendy, and Mary is also making a play for Wendy. In a literal sense.
Next.
Sam. I don't have a storyline title for Sam, because he just posted a letter.
Sam, over.
There's a mystery letter. What could that be? We'll find out.
I don't know. Do you know?
I literally have no idea what it could be. So I look forward to hearing some theories of that later.
I really think it might be something just to do with chess.
Yeah, he is a bit one note sometimes, isn't he? But we'll come to that. That's our 8th storyline title.
8?
Gemma,
I have not got time for this.
Can you do Reid In The Red? Which had some nice scenes this week. Some nice Platt stuff.
Monday, Sarah meets up with Adam in the cafe. Or maybe...
Yes, sorry, that question mark was just to say, why are they meeting up in the cafe?
Also...
She's married to him. They could have done this over breakfast.
We met in a cafe. We met in the cafe this week.
Did we?
Last weekend.
We did, but, you know, we... anyway.
Yes, we did, on Saturday.
Okay, I'm just saying...
It was fun. I was like, Michael's walking in somewhere and I'm already here. That doesn't happen.
I'm just saying that maybe the set for Adam and Sarah's flat wasn't completely ready to go.
Maybe they've maybe they've trashed it. Maybe they thought these are boring people, don't have a set for them anymore.
Maybe. Anyway, so they're
Can
in the
I just say, Sarah and Adam flat, the set, is more interesting than they are. Right, so they meet up in the cafe to talk about the business. Oh my god, this business idea. This is boring too. All week is just Sarah going, oh my darling, I think I should do business with my Uncle Stephen. And Uncle Stephen's like, yes, give me your money. And she's like, oh, I don't have any money actually. And then he's like, get some money, it's really easy. Just like steal it or something. And she's like, oh no, I couldn't possibly.
I like how they are really kind of shying away from what exactly Sarah's idea is, unless I'm missing it.
She's got a business idea, okay? And it is to sell things to people for
I think
more than she paid to buy them.
Stephen doesn't care because he just wants to get a load of money out of her.
Oh, Sarah's business ideas are so amazing. You're so great and beautiful. And she's like, yeah, I am actually. Yeah.
Poor Sarah Louise.
Why can't Carla see it?
Taking advantage of poor dumb Sarah.
So Sarah's, she's like, Stephen's going to help me. Uncle Stephen's going to help me apply for this loan. And I was like, look, Sarah, I married you for your looks. You don't have a good idea about anything. You don't even have good ideas about what's for dinner. So I'm a bit wary. And he says, he already mentioned to Carla that Sarah's got some ideas and she's not keen about it. This is divorce territory, this is. You're going behind my back, talking to my co-boss and saying my ideas to her, which was secret actually, about doing G-strings, and she's not impressed with them.
See, she's very resilient, Sarah, isn't she?
She doesn't
a week
care.
later and she's still not taking no for an answer.
Sarah's offended that he trusts Carla's judgment over hers. So later on, Carla apologised to Sarah.
Sorry, my notes. Sorry.
Probably Adam apologises to Sarah, talking to Carla, and says, I can't give you money because my business is struggling because Imran's bought it.
He
didn't buy the business, he just died.
Yeah. They haven't really shown any of that, have they?
It's also weird. I know we've had this discussion here about we've had discussions about money in marriage, and people have different opinions. But it's so weird to me to be like, dear husband, might you give me, your wife, some cash so I can do a business? He's like, I'm sorry, I can't give you any because. What do you mean you can't? It's half mine. Yeah. Dole it out, please.
Well, I would have thought that she doesn't need telling that the solicitors is doing badly as well.
Why didn't she learn to be a solicitor? Oh, I know. Sarah meets up with Stephen in the pub later and she says that I can't get this money. And he says, Carla's so mean to you. You need to get out of her shadow. And she's like, I will, eventually. Wednesday, it's the salon opening. Everyone's turned up. Hooray! Ken, Rita, Brian, Roy.
Whole bunch of random extras there.
Because there's a cake stand.
Yes, and a giant pair of scissors.
Where's the helpful journalist from the Weatherfield Gazette or whatever?
Oh yeah,
why are they having an opening ceremony without any press? And
they didn't actually cut any hair this week either, did they?
She cut a ribbon. Yeah. That's it.
So, yeah, that's me done for the week.
Oh, I am 85. Well, Audrey tells the oldies that she hasn't told her family about her suicide attempt yet, which is understandable. And then Ken brings out the giant scissors, which is not related to what she just said.
Also, that thing about the suicide attempt there, Brian was there, wasn't he? And
Brian's
as far as I know,
nodding.
Brian doesn't know anything to do with
well,
this.
They're talking in a very coded way, and Brian's like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. And then when Audrey goes, he's like, what?
Brian's like, I'm a classic character.
I'm an
oldie.
This
people mention me in the same breath. Audrey, Ken, Rita, Brian Packham. It's like it trips off the tongue.
Remember when I was sick on everyone? That's classic Corrie humour, that is. So she does a little speech about everyone being great, and she snips at the ribbon. And then Stephen comes to Adam to ask if Audrey signed the trust fund paperwork yet. And he says, why don't you ask her? Straight to the point, Adam.
Yeah, he says
he's got no time for this nonsense. Yeah. I think Adam's getting fed up with being in Coronation Street.
You reckon?
Dude, it's like, this guy's just, everyone's stupid. I'm leaving. Stephen finds Audrey in the salon later, and he says, Adam's really worried about this paperwork that you haven't signed, Mom. And Audrey's like, oh, I can't be asked. I'm not doing it. And he's like, oh no, really?
Is this where she says what? No, she doesn't say at this point what she's actually decided to do, does she?
Well, she's like, yeah, I'm not signing it anyway.
Yeah.
So he's like, never mind. Damn it. Audrey goes over to number 8 and she talks to Gail and she says, I've got a serious thing to talk to you about. And she tells her about her suicide attempt. And it was really great. I thought it was a really good scene. I know. I was on the edge of my seat going, come on, Helen Worth. Come on. They were both really great. It was so fun. I don't know. It's difficult to use positive terms to describe it because it was kind of very dark discussion, but they're such great actresses. They really do rise to the occasion when they're given something to do. And Gail is given like proper, serious, decent stuff so infrequently. Yeah, so she can still do it. It was lovely, and she could. I think they both did a really good job. And these characters have got 40 years of history on the show, and the shock of like of being told something like this about your mum, and also how harrowing it must be to admit this to your child as well. I just really felt the script was really great, and the acting was really great, and the show did a really good job on this. So they didn't try to make any kind of. They didn't try to make light or make Gail say anything doofusy. Yeah, it was perfectly well balanced. Yeah. Gail can't believe that she didn't see this happening, and Audrey's like, look, it wasn't your fault. These things creep up on you. And Gail says, oh, I failed you. And Audrey says, this isn't the case. And then everybody else turns up, and Audrey prepares to tell them. Even Aidan got a shout out, didn't he? Yeah. Now, this is interesting because I get, a lot of the time when you talk about suicide survivors who are people that are left behind when the person goes, can feel really guilty and really upset about, why wasn't I enough? Why, how could they do this? And Audrey didn't really come out and say it, but it's not really about the other people, is it? It's about only you and how much you're suffering. So, so everyone was stunned by what Audrey says, and David's like, what's happened? What could have happened? I need to get to the bottom of this. Even he was like pretty serious about it, wasn't he? He was making wisecracks by the end of the episode about Stephen's new suit, but I thought he was also reacted in a sensible way. Why would they not? Sometimes you expect humour for no reason. I don't understand. No, well, David, he's always, Michael, especially him, as the dark humour, isn't it? I know David's a bit of a psychopath, but you can't crack jokes about your nan trying to kill herself. And you can quote me on that. Okay. Audrey promises to everybody that there's life in the old girl yet, and she's going to spend all of her money once she's made sure that they're all financially secure, and she's going to have a bog standard will. Everything's going to be split equally. No, don't worry about it. Everyone's going to get their fair share, apart from Stephen, who has already assured me that he absolutely doesn't need the cash because he's proper loaded. And Stephen's like, damn it, Mom. Then I love this. Stephen goes. Scene of the week comes next. Now, because we all know it's the Highland Games tomorrow, Stephen was getting ready for the Khyber toss. Khyber toss. Oh, right, yeah, sorry. Carry on up the Khyber. Yeah, he chucks a big pole, doesn't he? What else does he... He swings a wheelie bin around. Oh yeah, he swings it right, yeah, and flings it up. He has a big old hissy fit around the back of the factory. I'm surprised nobody noticed, really, especially because Shona was just in the kitchen of number 8, which is about 10-second walk away, if that. But he kicks a haggis to death. Yeah, entertaining scene. I think it made everybody laugh. Absolutely brilliant. I don't think it was supposed to make everybody laugh, but it did, and it's better than no reaction at all. No, I loved it. I thought it was great. Stephen's just going up in my estimation by the episode. He's was fantastic. Very entertaining. He's just he's so small fry, such low stakes like drama. Like, I'm gonna throw a wheelie bin just to show you, Mum. Well, I just like that they've given him, a bit of a personality now. I think in his last 2 stints on the show, they were a lot shorter than this one. It felt like, and he was just a bit of a bland, suave businessman. I don't remember him having a mega personality. Like the first time Alma fancied him, and the second time he was just there to whisk Sarah Louise away to Milan. But they've actually kind of given him a lot more depth of character now, even if that depth is sinister. Sinister and a bit of a cheesy villain. We absolutely love cheesy villains on the show, and I love the fact that Stephen's just this like really mild agent of chaos who just will tip over your bin. Yeah. I tell you, Sally wouldn't like it.
Although I did discover when we were on the Coronation Street tour, the bins were all screwed closed, weren't they? I tried to open up Sally's bin.
I know we
it
did.
Wouldn't let me. Yeah.
Yeah. So the bin wouldn't let you.
No. When they announced these 3 returns with Spider, Stephen, and Wendy earlier this year, Spider I was kind of head over heels excited with straight away. Wendy, it was like, ooh, blimey, crikey, Wendy Crozier, wow. And Stephen, it was like,
why?
Okay, Stephen Reid,
that's
good.
Great.
I like a good. But actually, as of what's going on at the moment,
he's the most exciting.
Still, Wendy's just kind of going along nicely, but not doing a whole lot.
What's he
Spider
up to?
Spider is just like on the periphery and not really got his teeth sunk into anything yet. But Stephen is like, every scene that Stephen's
in, like, what's he going to do now?
Yeah.
What's he going to do?
Yeah.
I love it.
And I wouldn't have expected this.
No, I know. Stephen comes back to number 8 and Shauna's like, oh, you've torn your jacket. And so
he's got a rip on his sleeve, hasn't he?
Yeah, so he goes to the charity shop to get a new one. And he's so poor, he can't even afford to buy the tie.
Yeah, £1 tie. I appreciated this charity shop scene.
I love a charity shop.
Well, I just like that it was a location shoot. It's like, do you think the
And
people at Corrie were like, how can we somehow film this on the Media City lot? We haven't got anything. Could we dress up Tracy's to look like a charity shop? And they actually went to a proper charity shop and they filmed in there. And there was a charity shop lady who had a bit of a whiff of the Sarah Lancashires about her, I thought.
I don't know why you keep saying that.
No, I did. I thought it looked a bit Sarah Lancashire-y. Raquel's fallen on hard times. No, I really liked it. A packed shop. It just makes it feel a lot more real, I thought. So yeah, he's there getting his suit and his tie. He's only got £20 in his wallet, and it kind of was done to feel like this is the last of his money. He is now literally broke.
Learn to darn your sleeve.
Yeah.
The story of this is that there's a whole sack full of these clothes from a widow who's dropped off her dead husband's clothes, and there's like this, online fan theory that these are Imran's clothes.
Well, yeah, I saw this on the Digital Spy forum yesterday.
But I'm not sure.
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where I think...
Can I just say that some of Imran's wardrobe is incredibly distinctive, and he did have quite a lot of really lovely things, and I think if they wanted you to definitely make that link, they could have very easily have done that, but they didn't. So I think it's just an Easter egg. I think it's just a funny thing that got put into the script. I don't think it has any kind of deeper meaning. There's not going to be any sort of plot point from this.
I did wonder that at first. I mean, it could be literally nothing, and then this person could have just made a funny observation. Or it could just
be another widow. There's
yeah, exactly. It wasn't written like I certainly didn't think, oh, a widow, that must have been Toyah that delivered that. But when I saw the theory, I thought, oh, that'd be cool. Then I thought, well, what would the storyline purpose be? So I reckon it's going to be a case of Stephen's poorness, his what's the word? Poverty is revealed when Toyah notices the suit at some point, and that's when people say, hang on a minute, Stephen, I thought you were mega loaded. Toyah says that's Imran's suit that you're wearing there.
Well, so I don't like rich people can go to charity shops.
Yeah, but
that's not a gotcha, is it?
It's not, but it's something that could catch Stephen off guard if he's accused of what's going on here. I think maybe they could be going there with it, or it could be absolutely nothing. But Toyah did walk past Stephen a couple of times in today's episode. I mean, she had her mind on something else, of course, but when she strode through the bistro to have it out with Leanne, and then when she clopped off down the cobbles later on, she did pass Stephen and didn't go, oh, you know that suit anywhere. But it is a fairly standard suit, isn't it? It's not going to catch your eye necessarily. And that's all I have to say about that.
Gail finds Audrey in the salon later, and Audrey apologises for giving her a nasty shock. Gail has a little revelation about her mum being a human being. She says that you're a better mother than I could ever have hoped for. Husbands and partners have been and gone, but Audrey's been the one constant through it all, and if I'd lost you, I don't know what I would have done. This is just heart-wrenching. Because it's going to happen at some point. This is so sad. Audrey tells Gail that she admires her more than she could ever know, and she's so resilient, and Audrey asks for her forgiveness. And Gail says, of course, I'm just glad I still got you, and they have a hug.
Very nice.
Love this.
I don't think it's up there with the BAFTA award-winning scenes or anything. But it was really, really lovely little two-hander.
And as
gave them time to breathe.
Daughter that's very close to my mum. it really touched me. I felt very connected to these scenes. I thought,
lovely.
It was, yeah.
It's very, very nicely done. I'm glad that they had the opportunity to do that.
The family meet up at the bistro and make fun of Stephen's suit.
So this is David. He's just
I didn't get what I didn't understand what was wrong with it. It was a suit. All men's suit are boring.
I think he was just saying it was a bit.
Does it have pinstripes on it? Is that it?
It was a pinstripe suit, and it looked.
Can
a
I
bit
just say,
cheap.
Al Capone looking suit is, to me, is one with bullet holes and blood pouring out of it. Stephen says, "Well, I like it. Why don't I take a few
Maybe
risks?"
when Leo finds out about what he's been up to with Jenny, eh?
David points out that he's never been much of a risk taker in the past, and Stephen says, "I might just change that. After all, what have I got to lose?" He's slowly turning into Donald Trump. I'm sorry, everybody.
Yeah, I think that is just literally your.
I only have one American
transatlantic
voice.
Accent at the moment. Yeah. So I'm just thinking it's all very fun. This.
Well, that's not the end of Stephen this week.
It's not the end of Stephen.
Because that only took us to Wednesday, and then he gets up to all kinds of stuff on the Friday, which we'll get into in a minute.
Yeah, I thought it was great the reveal that Audrey wasn't leaving any money to Stephen. It did,
but it was weird though, because it's like she's not imminently at death's door. I know that horrible things happen, and you could get taken ill suddenly, and but she's fine. It's not an urgent matter, is it? I don't know.
So, I mean, yeah, if she were to leave money to Stephen, would he have then, tried to offer or something?
That's what I'm thinking. What is he up to? I don't think he's got it in him.
No.
I mean, he's good at throwing bins, but could he throw at old ladies? Don't think so.
I don't know.
How do you think he'd do it?
She looks fairly light.
How do you think he'd bleach her to death?
Yeah, something like that. Maple syrup would be involved somehow. Just force feed her until she exploded.
What about his Italian side? Excuse me, he could make her eat lasagna.
I did think it was kind of bad, even though he said, "I don't need the money." It seemed like a pity cowy thing for Audrey to do, to not leave him money anyway.
To be honest, how much I reckon she's easily got $500,000, if not more. She must have, but she might even be pushing $1 million.
I wonder.
With the house, I reckon the house was worth about 600,000.
I can't remember what her financial status was after the whole Archie money thing.
She's got all these trinkets. She's got those Meryl robes. She's got these silk scarves. I'm sure that Sally would buy them. But that money split how many ways? Taking Stephen out of it, it's not going to really bump everybody up that much. Just give it to him too, you cow.
I just think that it should honestly be split between Stephen and Gail. And then eventually it might work its way down to the grandchildren.
Different families have different... Your family seems to do it that way, like the children get, the direct children, and then the grandchildren can
have it later.
Just get scraps. But my family, it would be more like you split it and the kids get more, but then the grandchildren get some. Yeah. Not that I've ever been left money, but I don't even know what I'm talking about. I've not been left money by anybody.
But if you were...
If I were, I would expect an equal share.
Yeah, no, I just thought that Audrey should have probably noticed that Steve was maybe just being a bit polite or something.
It does seem weird.
She could have said to him at least, "Look, I'm thinking of not doing the trust. I know you've been banging on about this trust. I've changed my mind. I'm going to make a will. I'm thinking of not giving you any money. Is that okay, maybe?"
But I guess the thing is,
really.
I guess the more of the reaction was that she's not doing the trust anymore. Because I think he was up to something with that trust, but I can't work it out.
Well,
I don't know enough about trust.
No, I don't know enough about trust.
So I assume that he would have been able to access the money before she died or something.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's why it was more mad about the will and the trust not being in existence than her saying you're not getting any money at all. But I think that was just the icing on the cake, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So let's see what else Stephen gets up to this week. But we'll just rewind a little bit to what's going on between Jenny and Leo in the Rovers. Leo's still trying to find a job.
Go to Canada.
Yes, there's plenty of jobs over there because apparently factories use construction, according to Sarah Louise.
No, we'll talk about that.
So anyway,
look,
Jenny,
I don't understand the everybody on Coronation Street can go to any country. Like, whatever skill they have is highly in demand, whatever country they want to go to.
Yeah.
So obviously, Canada is gagging for people who have just learned how to work on a construction site. Because, let me point out to everybody, Leo is not a builder. He is a surveyor.
Well, he's a sewer man, isn't he?
He's not good at spotting sinkholes. If you need somebody to not know if the floor's going to fall out from underneath you, Leo's your man.
Yeah, true. Right, so Jenny says, look, Daisy's in Brighton at the moment on a hen do. We got the place to ourselves tonight. Let's have a bit of a night out, a bit of, wink, wink. How's your father? And Leo's like, no, I've got no cash. And he's just far too honourable to let Jenny pay for them to go out with a meal.
If I said to somebody, hey, do you want to go out and then come back and have a bit of and then they went, I haven't got any money, I'd be like, excuse me, I'm not a prostitute.
I know.
What do you mean you haven't got any money? You don't need 50 quid on the nightstand.
So, just very handily coincidentally, Ed's in the pub later, moaning about this pub demolition project that he's been doing for months. Somebody's supposed to be working for him, just injured his hand, taking the stone out of an avocado.
They talk about what's the most middle class injury you've ever heard of. That's very much.
So Leo offers to help. Hooray, that's very handy. See, now Ed's got a new
So he's been a builder for like 2 days.
I'm sure that there's transferable
skills. And I can also say,
Ed,
I would not hire Ed Bailey or the Bailey and Son or whatever it's called, construction company, to do anything for me, because he hires people that have no experience whatsoever in anything. He's got Paul, who had to Google how to put a door on a cupboard.
Yeah, that's true. His workforce is made up of people who've never done building before in their life.
Not only have they never done building before in their lives, but they have no respect at all for the fact that it might actually be a skill. They're like, yeah, I can do building.
Anyone can do that. You just need to be a man.
Throwing bricks on the floor in a pile. Anyone can do that.
So, Leo's got a job and now he can buy dinner for them tonight.
Wait until he finds out how wages work.
But there's a bit of an accident at the builder's yard, because he comes back covered in soil, in inverted commas, from the soil pipe which has burst under everybody who goes to work. Because it was the same with Daniel the other week, wasn't it? He went off building and then came home covered in muck.
Somebody at the Coronation Street script writing department hates builders and thinks they're all absolutely crap and none of them know what they're talking about. Because can you imagine if you wanted an extension built and you hired people and then Leo, Paul and Daniel turn up and they're all standing around going, well, I don't know how to do it. I thought you knew how to do it. I don't know how to do it. What should we do? I don't know, put concrete down? How do you make concrete?
I know.
Do you have to make it level, or do you put bricks on it and then you level the bricks? I'm not sure.
I did find it hilarious how everybody in the pub apart from Leo found this highly amusing, that he was covered in...
I wouldn't think it was funny if you walked into a pub that serves food and drink covered in human excrement.
So he gets kind of narked and then goes
also,
off to have a shower.
if I was Jenny, I'd be like, do you know that there's a side entrance?
Yeah, that's true.
Why do you need to parade through the bar?
Yes, good point.
And also, do they not have hoses?
Good job they didn't have the health inspectors in.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Anyway, so he goes upstairs to get himself showered, and she finds him in the back room later, and she says, I can see you've not been yourself lately. You really want to go to Canada, don't you? And I was like, yes, Leo, you do want to go to Canada.
What job is this?
Please go to Canada.
He's always wanted to go to Canada.
Special job in Canada
ever since
for
he
Leos.
saw South Park.
So Leo says, yeah, you know what? I've always wanted to go to Canada. It's been my dream and everything. It's so fresh and exciting. He says, he kind of has a bit of a dig about Britain being a bit pants and naff, doesn't he?
Well, he kind of insinuates that Canada's new.
Canada.
And UK's old and rubbish. It's like, ask the indigenous people that live in Canada how old it is. I think they'll have a different opinion to you.
Very true. He just says, Canada's brilliant. I do actually want to go. Jenny
What does he think in Canada? I want him to be more specific, honestly. I want to hear him talk about how much he actually likes Canada.
If he wants Tim Hortons so much, there's one just up the road. I've been there.
They just opened a brand new one there too, in Manchester, an even bigger one.
Oh, brilliant. Anyway, he says...
wants some Timbits and nobody's going to stop him.
He says, I love Canada, but I love you more. Oh,
wow.
Which is, and I don't want to lose you. And Jenny says, oh, Leo, I love you too. Which is why you need to get on the phone and tell them you've changed your mind. But I can't come with you. So she's basically saying, you go off to Canada, but I can't come with you. I'm too old. I love my pub too much. I
can't go to Canada.
Can't make a big change in my life right now. But I couldn't forgive myself for standing in your way. So Leo, off you pop. And so
translation: if you like Canada that much, why don't you go and live there?
Yes. So Gemma can see that Jenny's in a bit of a mood later on in the pub, and Gemma says, "Look, why don't you just go for a bit? Try it out,
Trial period.
Trial period in Canada. I can look after the pub." And Jenny's just snaps
like,
and says, "I'm not going.
Not leaving you in charge."
That. So later on, Jenny's downed a few more of the old vinos again. Leo comes and tells her that he's told the Canadians about changing his mind. Jenny says, "You're going to have a great life out there, Leo." Leo says, "I'll miss you so much, but I can't stay here though. It's going to be too painful." And he goes to Pat.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I can't remember. I just wrote some
notes.
Have
they broken up?
Yes, they have broken up by the end of Wednesday's episode.
Good.
Indeed, they have. Wonderful. But it's all the change on Friday.
Oh, bloody Rita and Gemma stick their oars in.
There was a nice scene between... There was a few nice mother-daughter scenes this week, weren't there? With Audrey and Gail, evil. Rita and Jenny.
I've totally got... it's just taken me 2 weeks to figure Rita out after all these years. After decades of this woman being on the show, I've finally realised that she's actually an evil, manipulative narcissist. Sure.
Yeah. She's
like, I know, let's watch the world burn. Gemma, let's make them get back together again.
Well, first we have to have Rita and Jenny. Jenny's putting a bit of a brave face on it all and saying, "Look, I love the pub more than I love Leo. I'll be fine. He's going to have a great time out there. I've had a brilliant time with this young buck here. But I've got no intention of moving away to a country where I don't know who anyone is." And Rita's like, "Well, just go. You won't be on your own for long."
I don't know who anyone in Canada is. Well, you might know Justin Trudeau. That's one. There's loads of people that are actually secretly Canadian.
Yeah, I know.
So Alanis Morissette.
Yeah,
she's Canadian.
Racking it up.
That's 2.
And then there's
the Queen. She's the Queen of Canada. That's 3. Is she Canadian?
No.
She honorary Canadian.
No.
Okay, well so. That's 2. Back to 2 then.
Jenny has a bit of a sad, doesn't she? At the end of the set, she does. She's kind of full of bravado while Rita's there. But when Rita leaves, Jenny just kind of collapses a little bit.
Well,
that was very good, very nicely done. So Rita starts plotting with Gemma later in her backyard about how they're going to get this whole thing sorted, and Gemma's insistent that Jenny wants to go with Leo, and Rita's like, "Oh yeah, she probably does actually."
I was wrong.
Because she kind of says, "Well, I didn't want Jenny to go, so when she said she didn't want to go, I just believed her. I went along with it because it was more convenient for me." But you're right, she does want to go out with Leo. What a hunk.
Yeah.
So,
hubba.
Leo goes and hands in his notice at the yard.
Oh, what?
Oh, dear.
Ed's like, "You've been here a day, and the last thing you did was cover yourself in poo.
I think
you won't be missed.
I think I'll be able to.
Forgive me if I don't give you a carriage clock."
Gemma spots this and from the kebab shop, and she stages this intervention between Rita and her and Leo in the Rovers later, where Rita says to Leo, "Oh, Jenny's been rejected all her life. You need to make her feel secure.
At least once by you, Rita.
Like you're committed to her." Yeah, I know. You need to persuade her to let you take her over to Canada.
Yeah, but she also uses the word commitment or committed.
Yeah.
And that sets his little brain in gear, doesn't it?
It gets the little bells ringing.
How do I show commitment to a woman?
So
I'm gonna give her my Netflix password.
Meanwhile, Stephen is in the Rovers with Sarah Lou, and he's still trying to work on this amazing venture that Sarah Lou's got, and he's like, "Oh yeah, just if you present some figures to Carla, then maybe she'll just be wowed by it, and
she's
she'll
like, Uncle Stephen,
buy time."
You know how when you buy underwear and you're a lady, there's always you can have a set, right, and you can buy your pants and your bra at the same time. I was thinking, what if we invented a third piece of underwear that you needed for women? But I don't know what it could be.
Don't know what it could go under.
Could we do maybe a kind of a bracelet for your stomach, or maybe some kind of attachment that attaches your bra to your pants in case you lose them? He's like, "Yes, Sarah.
Whatever.
You're so smart." she's like, wait, maybe we should do socks, because really they're underwear, aren't they? You wear them under things.
Yeah, they're under your shoes.
So I'm gonna suggest that we extend the matching underwear to involve socks, so that when people go out, they're like, oh, gotta make sure I've got matching underwear and socks in case I get hit by a car and then I go to the hospital and they won't.
I hope Carla's listening to this, because I think you're just talking yourself into a job here.
And also we should make multicoloured sports bras.
Yes. So Stephen says to Sarah Louise, basically, keep trying to get money, please. Because I really think this is a goer, and Sarah's like, no, we really, really can't.
Sarah's like, but Uncle Stephen, you haven't even asked me what my idea is, and he's like, it's irrelevant.
It's amazing. Then he notices Jenny looking a little bit worse for wear behind the bar. I can't remember how it comes up, but Sarah says about, she's the owner of the pub. She's
he makes a joke about her drinking the profits, and she's like,
she's getting
she owns a place, and he's like,
a bit tipsy,
really?
Yeah, so he's now set his sights on a new target.
Yeah.
So he goes over to her. Before he does, he says to Sarah Louise, what's the name of one of the young barmaids? And she's like, Daisy or Gemma. And he goes up to Jenny and is like, hey, Daisy. And
it's like, hey, my name's not Daisy.
What does he say? Oh, one of the guys I overheard the other day saying that there's this young sexy barmaid called Daisy.
The sexy one's called Daisy.
The sexy one's called Daisy. And
like,
I thought they were talking about you.
I didn't want you to think I'm a pervert, but you look like a right goer. And she's like, oh, do you know what? I am.
I'm a bit of a goer, actually. Yeah, he says, I don't want to sound like a bit of a lech. And then he gives the most lecherous eyebrow raise, doesn't he, at the end of the scene, when because she kind of likes the attention. She's a bit flattered by it, and she goes off to the back, and he just gives her like,
See, what is his plan? Like, what? He's obviously realised that she's got money. But Stephen is such a rubbish villain that I can only imagine his grand plan is to steal the drippings out of the drip tray and pour them off into a flask. And
I don't know what he wants to do. Is he just
going to try and drink for free forever?
Is he just going to try and rob the tills, or is he like going to try and woo her and wed her and become hard? He's just literally doing anything to get his hand on some quick cash, but it's not really that quick, this particular plan, is it?
He's gonna be there with his arm in the slot machine trying to pull.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, he's gonna stay the night and then creep down and start playing the slot machine, isn't
It's gonna be like, Jenny, just out of interest, do you have the key for the payphone? I just wondered if I could. I really like counting money and not stealing it ever, but
I've got loads of money myself.
look at this outfit.
My suit. This
isn't £20 worth. This is like 100 easily.
Anyway. Before long, Stephen's got Jenny very, very drunk at the bar. She's just like enjoying the attention, really, isn't she?
Who wouldn't?
I thought it was kind of bad that Jenny, who seemed to be the only person on duty at the moment, was completely bladdered. I don't think that's the best business practice. I don't think that Bet Lynch would have got up to that kind of nonsense. But never mind, we'll forget that for now. And so she kind of invites him out the back, and she's all like, she gives him the come hither eyes, doesn't she?
Well,
and, she treats him to some of Johnny's special whiskey.
She goes through men so far.
I know.
She's like, my husband. She's like, oh yeah, I got some special whiskey from my partners, and he's like, what? Leo? Oh no, that's one before that. Leo's one next one.
We said that Liz McDonald was the trollop, but you know,
I'm going for like at least 3 guys in a year. So you do.
Before long, she's planted a big old smackaroo on his lips. And just on cue, Leo arrives at the Rovers. I was expecting him to burst into the room at that point, but no, he just came into the pub. But he has got an engagement ring for young Jennifer here.
Lovely.
Because he's taken the words about commitment a little bit too seriously. And it was in the tackiest box, wasn't it?
Don't be rude.
It was in a horrible but heart-shaped box. Come on. So he's there, and Jenny, Gemma and Sean are like, what the heck is going on here? Sean's trying to put Leo off because I think he saw that Jenny went into the back room with Stephen, although he's digging for details later in the episode, isn't he? So I don't think he knows exactly what was going on there. Gemma doesn't realise that Stephen's with Jenny at this point, though, so she's like, forget about having a whiskey, go out the back and see Jenny right now. Now Jenny, meanwhile, is just about to drag Stephen upstairs when Gemma blunders in, sees what they're up to, closes the door behind her, and is like, "Oh, Leo, don't worry, Jenny's not up. Oh yeah, she said she was going to have a shower, didn't she?" So he heads back to the bar, just to wait for Jenny to get back. Jenny kind of hurries Stephen out of the back room before staggering into the bar because she's still absolutely trolleyed at this point. And then we get Leo's proposal. And if ever you wondered, is Leo meant to be a massive dullard dope head, then this speech was it, wasn't it? No, I know, I didn't mean that. Just a dope then. This speech that you gave is proposal. Like even he's just going on about rugby, isn't he? He's like telling him his life story of being a rugby player. And even Sean at one point's like, has he forgotten what he came in for? Which I thought was a great line. And then when Leo comes to do the proposal itself, he kneels down on the floor, holds the ring up behind the bar. He's like, oh, can you still see the ring here? So absolutely,
I love that so much.
We are supposed to be thinking that Leo is a total donut at this point.
This would still be sweet.
Not a hopeless romantic. No,
yeah, but no. This would be sweet if you wanted Leo and Jenny to get together. You feel like, oh, he's so lovable and dumb. And they were also playing "Everything I Did It For You" by Bryan Adams.
Were they?
I'm pretty sure they were. I have not heard that song for years.
No.
But I remember when I was in primary school, that was quite the hit.
So they're engaged anyway. She accepts, and then they go off to the bistro to celebrate with Rita. Leo's on cloud 9 at this point, but Jenny's just like she's saying, I've been drunk all afternoon. I don't know what's going on. I didn't know whether she was apologising, whether she was saying, "Oh, I shouldn't have snogged Stephen," or I shouldn't have said yes to Leo. But
she's like, "I guess I'm going to Canada."
Yeah, she had. Well, she's not going to learn a lesson, is she?
What? Okay. Anyway, Imagine.
So they're there in the bistro with Rita and Gemma and that lot. But then, in walk Stephen and Sarah. And so Jenny kind of pulls Gemma to one side at one point and says, like, I really, really want to tell Leo the truth. I want to tell him about what happened with Stephen. And Gemma says, no way, you need to keep this quiet, missus. And then Rita does a toast so that Leo can do it as his second naff speech of the evening. And again, that was written very much as like usually every guy on Coronation Street can ad-lib Shakespeare almost, can't they? When it's time to write a speech, to read a speech, but Leo couldn't manage it. So it ends in a toast, and Stephen makes sure that he catches Jenny's eye when he's raising the glass as well.
Yes, he does. He's up to what is he up to?
Yeah. Is he going to try and blackmail her? I don't know. So anyway, they go back to the pub. This is when Sean's trying to dig for gossip with Jenny saying, oh, I smelled aftershave in the back room. And she's like, no, I'm not saying anything. You're not getting anything out of me, mister. But outside, meanwhile, Leo and Stephen are chatting in the street.
This is when Sarah says the dumbest line I've ever heard.
I don't remember what it was.
Oh, I've got to find it because it was the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It was something along the lines of... Because she's trying to say, oh, Stephen's Canadian, you're going to Canada, maybe Stephen can help you over there in Canada. He can get you off on the...
She says, so Stephen has loads of factories, which I'm assuming use construction. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Use construction?
She knows all the lingo.
What do you mean? They've already been constructed, you dopey cow. What do you mean? Also... Leo's been in construction for 2 days.
I can't remember.
He was a surveyor. He just looks at something and goes, that's not right.
I can't remember whether he
goes, oh, that's going to fall down.
Did a building before. I don't know. He's too boring.
I'm almost certain, and I don't care if I'm wrong. I don't want to be corrected because this is too much fun. That he just literally looks at things through a little honk and goes, that's a straight line. That's what surveyors do.
So,
I'm sure they have them in Canada. They don't need you, Leo.
They know
what's straight line and what isn't.
Leo goes back to the pub. Jenny's a bit unnerved when she realises that he and Stephen have been talking, and even more so when he says, "Oh yeah, Stephen's a really nice guy. Actually, maybe we should have him over for a drink next week, and he can tell me all about these jobs in Canada or something."
Not only that, but he used the code word.
What?
When Jenny and Stephen were canoodling, they used the word discombobulate, and he then somehow Stephen drops us into conversation with Leo, and Leo comes and parrots it back to Jenny, and she's like, crikey, this might go wrong. So what do you think the plan is now? Because I can only think that Stephen's going to try and blackmail her.
That would make sense. I mean, if he hadn't... It wasn't the plan all along, but the opportunity has now arisen, hasn't it?
Yeah, happy accident.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think he should do it. I think he should try to blackmail Jenny, because the more reasons we can give her to not go to Canada with boring Leo, the better.
She's not going... I'm still, like, insistent that she's not going to go to Canada. I've said all along they're not going to get rid of... Not going to get rid of our Jenny.
Well, certainly not to Canada. That's like... No, she's got to blow something up, or, you know, or dangle something over the side of something.
Yeah.
Going to Canada is like...
This is not her happy ending.
That's a taxi exit, isn't it?
It basically is, yeah. I was very excited when she did have that snog with Stephen, though. It's like, yes!
What's going on?
Because Leo's going to find out about that.
Yeah, go on, Leo, walk in.
There are no secret snogs that go unfound out about on Coronation Street. So... That's just kind of sealed it for me. I mean, I suppose the problem is she and Leo were on a break when she did the snogging, so it's kind of maybe forgivable, I
Leo's
suppose.
So dopey and desperate that you probably forgive her anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other option is maybe Jenny and Stephen keep having a secret affair behind Leo's back. Don't think she would, but well, yeah, Stephen's not going to be able to get Jenny's money the original way that he'd planned anyway.
Whatever his plan was, which didn't... Oh, I'm dying to know what it was.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this dinner party if it is going to happen.
Dinner party?
Well, no, when Leo says we should have Stephen round for dinner, that could be delightfully awkward.
Yeah, brilliant.
With Leo just going on like he's got no idea and the other two giving each other looks. That could be a lot of fun.
Who was it that was selling booze? Oh, was it selling booze in Victoria Gardens?
I don't remember.
I just wonder if that was Stephen's idea. Like he's going to befriend bed Jenny and then steal booze at the Optics and then try and sell them in the park to like Rita. Probably buy them as well.
So that could be fun. I hope that if that does happen, Daisy comes back for it, because I think that...
Where's Daisy gone?
Well, she was at this
she's in Brighton.
hen party in Brighton, which seemed to last the whole week. I think that she was definitely missing from these scenes. They were all really, really fun scenes. Everything that happened in the Rovers this week, I thought was... I know, it's so lovely kind of great
to see proper factory scenes and proper Rovers scenes again.
Yeah, but Daisy is... She's smart, and I think that she'd be super suspicious of Stephen. I don't think that she would fall for his charms quite in the same way that Jenny has done. Jenny was just kind of feeling low after coming out of this relationship, and but Daisy's very astute, and I think that she would see Stephen straight away for what he is. So yeah, I hope she's back next week. Anything. The only other, I mean, just like, do you think it happened too quickly that Jenny dropped her drawers nearly for Stephen?
Nah.
It's funny, like, we're very, you know, when...
If she does it for comedy, it's fine.
When she slept with Ronnie Bailey, when she was still married to Johnny, we were outraged by this. And now when she almost does the same thing with Stephen... Yeah, I was pretty outraged at that, but now she's doing exactly the same thing. I'm not consistent, but I have good reason to be pleased for Stephen and Jenny to be snogging, because I don't like Leo.
I wish we could talk about that story and Stephen's antics all day long. He's my favourite.
He's a lot of fun. I just feel bad, like he's
him bumbling around, like just trying to get money in the most protracted manner possible.
He's getting a lot of criticism online, but I don't think people are enjoying his performance. But I'm enjoying the silliness of it, really, and the desperateness.
I want to say too is that we saw the actor who plays him when we were at the set, along with lots of other people who were coming in and out, didn't we?
Yes.
And he is actually quite intimidating and tall.
He is.
He's got a really kind of big presence, and seeing him like throwing that bin around is like, he's actually really scary. Like he could just like go into the Rovers and just say, "Give me the till," and everyone would just give him all the money, and he could run away then.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what does he? So what's making him so desperate for cash? That's one thing.
What's
and who's
going
Gabrielle?
On with this? Mrs. Gabrielle Reid.
Who's that?
Yeah, I wonder. That's going to be dropped on us in months' time, and they'll say, "Well, we did tell you.
We told you about that. We haven't forgotten. We haven't forgotten Coronation Street. Okay, yeah. We're prepared for Gabrielle's return." Kaadi.
No, I'm alright. I'm quite warm myself.
It's still pretty warm. It is September. It's still about 22 degrees in here. On Monday, Aadi's getting fed up with Bernie's hoovering because she's been hired by Dev to be the cleaner, not the prostitute.
Even though he really doesn't need one.
I mean, Lady of the Night. Kelly comes round and they're keeping the engagement quiet from everyone for now, but this competition is going to go public in a week. Do you know what this reminds me of?
What?
Having a secret podcast.
Oh yeah, it is a little bit, isn't it?
It's like, why are you keeping this secret? I don't really know, but it adds drama.
that had the funny bit because Bernie was doing a hoovering with the headphones on, wasn't she? And that's when Aadi's like, "Bernie, we're going upstairs to have sex." And she doesn't hear any of it.
Oh. Aadi, you dog.
You've done it once, and now you.
Now he thinks he's cock of the walk.
Yeah, literally.
What? Dev comes home to find Aadi and Kelly canoodling on the sofa, and he's a bit stunned. And Aadi says, "Yes, things are quite serious, father." Looks like he's about to announce the engagement, but Kelly makes him stop, and she says, "We need to break it to people gently. Maybe we should arrange for a family meal at the bistro so we can break it to everybody." Aadi and Kelly go to the shop to tell Dev about the bistro plan, and they say it's going to be a good chance for Dev and Kelly to get to know each other better. And Dev tries to get out of it by saying he's got to work late. And Kelly leaves going, "It would be great if you could come." And Aadi says, "Look, Kelly's really making an effort. Why can't you? Maybe I'll move out. How do you like that?" Evelyn eventually manages to persuade Dev to go to this meal. And Aadi and Kelly meet up with this journalist that's running the competition in the bistro before the meal takes place. And she's asking them about how their families are taking the fact that they're engaged and they're so young. They lie and say, "Oh, everyone's really happy about it." If I was Aadi, I'd be like, "My mum's dead, actually." Oh, write that down because that might get me through.
My mum's dead. Her mum and her dad are dead. So, sorry, you just struck a bit of a nerve.
Can they not just win the competition now?
Yeah. Sob story alert. Or what?
Yeah. So they say, "Look, just so you know, we're not actually 18.
Yeah, because she's asked for their passports, doesn't she?
Well, she's like, honestly, this drove me mad because it's like, actually, no, sorry, it's a legal requirement that you have to be 18 because you probably can't go on this trip without your parents' permission.
Yeah.
If you're not 18. But she's like, "Oh, do you know what? I'll bend the rules for you." Apparently, the law means nothing in Weatherfield.
Well, no, she just says as long as we get written permission from your parents.
I thought that bit was stupid.
Then
honestly.
It's okay.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. The writers are like, "I know somebody's going to say something about them not being 18 online. I'm just going to write this in, and then nobody can say anything." But guess what? We still do. Later on, everyone congregates in the bistro. Maria's not there yet because something's come up. Dev's not in a good mood. Kelly and Aadi are whispering, "Oh, don't say anything, don't say anything." Everything's a bit tense. Then Maria comes in and she's like, "Oh my God, you guys are engaged." I read this in this article in the Gazette because it got published a week early. And she's like, "What are you doing?"
I thought that was weird. Like, why did it get published early? How did that happen? And why was there didn't seem to be any kind of fallout from Aadi and Kelly to this journalist. Like, why have you done this? It just seemed to be a bit of a quick way for it to
I don't understand why the journalist would be in trouble for publishing an article about people that are engaged. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't know it was supposed to be a dark family secret when I specifically asked you how your family were coping with it and you told me that they were fine.
It just seemed a little bit convenient that Maria found about it. And I think that we could have had the same kind of fallout with the family with them announcing it themselves.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they did that, but I still thought it was kind of funny and dramatic. So everyone's up in arms and Aadi's squirming. He's trying to explain how this all happened. And Dev's like, "You're children, you don't know what you want." And then this is when Maria pipes up about being engaged to Tyrone at 17 and it was a mistake. They're too young. Nina's there. I don't know why Nina's there. She just needs a hot meal, apparently. She says, "I believe you love each other, but you don't need a certificate or consent to do that. That should be enough." So she's one of these people that doesn't believe in marriage.
No labels.
Nina, you wait till you find out that you get to have a very special cover on a soap magazine if you have a wedding.
If you're a soap character, you gotta love getting married.
You have to get married multiple times.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, I mean, I don't think there's ever any soap
characters
that are couples that don't get married.
How boring would the show be?
Considering that, as we found out earlier this year, like more than 50% of couples don't get married these days.
Oh, it's
on
terrible.
Coronation Street, they all get
100%.
married.
It's more than 100%. It's like 300%.
You can't make a special episode out of not getting married, can you?
How can we have a Friday episode if you're not going to get married? So, Asha pipes up also that Kelly is the one who crashed the car. And then she's like, well, it was going to come out anyway. Dev is completely appalled at this point. Dev takes Aadi away. So Gary and Mary have a bit of a calmer chat with Kelly, and they say, oh, you know, Gary's like, I'll talk to Dev. Dev has a right go at Aadi, and then Gary comes round and he says, look, Dev, come for a beer, come for a chat with me in the pub. I just want us to talk it through. And Dev's like, no, I don't want to. And then Aadi's in a huff, tries to walk past Dev. Dev grabs him and kind of like beats him to death on the staircase. There's a scuffle. Aadi ends up getting pushed against the banister and has a bloody nose. And he says to Dev that he hates him and he's never coming back to live with him. And he goes huffing off to Kelly, who's in the Windasser's flat. And Dev comes to the door and he says, I'm going to give you a chance. I've been thinking it through. I'm sorry. Aadi, come home. And Aadi says, no, I'm going to live here now until I find my own place. I'm never coming home again. Gary and Mary come home and they're shocked because they suddenly have an extra teenage boy living there, which is not going to be helpful for keeping the bread and milk in the house, I'm sure. Gary says, you can stay as long as you want. So Gary and Mary have a chat about it over dinner later and says, those kids are never going to be able to have anywhere to live by themselves. Maria, I heard that they're building a new precinct that's been there for years. So there's probably lots of very reasonably inexpensive places to rent. Yeah. I mean, if Abby can live there, I'm sure that two bright young things can afford, especially considering Aadi is a high-flying manager at a chain of shops and takeaways. So
Maria's like saying, Gary, why are you being so calm about everything here? And he's like, don't worry, they're kids do crazy things, it'll be fine.
It's also like, look, compared to some of the stuff I've got up to, this is small fry.
Very true.
Have they murdered anybody? Well, one of them has, yeah. He's like, it's fine, don't worry about it. Kelly goes to see Aadi in the cafe, and Kelly says, I know what we should do. We should go to Gretna Green.
Aadi's like, what's that?
You dummy.
I don't know whether it's a dummy thing or not. I think it's one of those things that, like,
it's very much of an era, I'm sure.
Yeah. And also, people our age are like, oh yeah, going off to Gretna Green, that's definitely a thing that people do. But he is only 17. Maybe he wouldn't have heard of it.
The thing is about it is that to like me and all the people like where I live, the idea of going to Gretna Green is like a fantasy story about some crazy thing that you might possibly do because it's hours and hours and hours. Whereas if you live in Manchester, it's only 2 hours to get there. So it's actually quite realistic.
Yeah.
But for like, you know, southern teens, they'd have to go to I don't know, Jersey or something.
So they're gonna go and do a Nick and Leanne, aren't they? Is the plan?
I'm not sure if people abroad know what Gretna Green really is. Gretna Green is just the nearest Scottish village, so it's right on the border between England and Scotland, and the law in Scotland is different for marriage than it is in England, and I think you can get married in Scotland at 16 without parents' permission. Yeah. So that's why characters will sometimes go there to do ill-advised things. Do you think they have like a wizened old Scottish woman sitting there going, here we go, another pair of stupid English kids coming to ruin their lives. I love to see it. On Wednesday, Aadi's bit down in the dumps. When Asha and Corrie moved in, Dev was falling over himself to make things all right with them, but not this time. You know, think back, Aadi, you were the one left in the car to die.
Exactly.
So he reckons the sooner they get to Gretna Green, the better. Meanwhile, Dev's also grumpy. He's telling Asha that he's done everything he can to look after them. Where's the time gone? I've lost my kids. He's forgotten about all the other kids that he has spawned and ignored.
Yeah, just imagine like Amber walking through the door and he's like, get out, I've got too much other drama going on in my life.
Boring, leave me. Yeah, he has got far more children than just the 2. So the fact that he feels like he's neglecting his 2 is quite funny.
Asher and Aadi are his special ones.
Yeah, because he really likes
proper
Anita.
Characters.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And their mum was cast.
Yes.
So, Ash like, no, it's not true. Look, Aadi's going to learn his lessons just like I did with Corrie. And Dev's like, bloody hope not. That was expensive. Interfering made things worse. I'm not going to do that again. And Asher says, look, I'll go talk to them. So Asher goes around and tries to plead Dev's case to Aadi and Kelly. And she apologises to Kelly about dobbing her in about the car. And Aadi says, well, I'm not going to go back home if Dad can't accept Kelly. And Asher says, let's think about it. So when Asher leaves, Kelly tells Aadi that he's lucky he's got parents that care about him and he shouldn't be so quick to cut ties with them. Aadi turns up at the shop and he returns Anita's ring, which is the ring that he gave to Kelly for the engagement ring, and he makes out that he's called off the engagement, but he's going to stay at the Windasses for a while, and they hug. Dev thinks everything's okay, but little does he know that Aadi is still planning to go to Gretna Green with Kelly.
Yes, they have a final scene, don't they, where they're emailing the registrar at Gretna Green to say, yes, one wedding, please. Although Kelly didn't know how to pronounce registrar and pronounce it registra.
I've said many things wrong today.
This was fun. I mean, I'm still loving them as a couple, but I mean, Dev's right that they're completely not ready to get married. Considering that they hadn't been, even an item a couple of weeks ago.
I know, really, like, maybe if they had been... I mean, you can't really have been together for years when you're that young. But if they had known each other for, like, at least a year?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Which is why I'm kind of really feeling sympathy for Dev here. Like, nobody's listening to him.
I know.
They're all just telling him it's going to be okay. But he's like, no, it's not okay. I could be... My boy here could be making the biggest mistake of his life. I guess I've just accidentally bumped into him and now he's got a bloody nose, which he didn't seem to want to wash the whole week because it was still very, very red the next episode. He was.
Yeah, I think the only reason why you would be fine with this is if you thought marriage was a sham anyway, which is
like Nina.
Yeah, a bit of a sad way to encourage someone to get married. Like, yeah go on, it doesn't even matter. You can just get divorced.
I think it's cool that they're bringing up the Gretna Green thing because you're right. It does tie into the kind of the fairy tale-ness of it in a weird way, doesn't it? It's like some kind of having a secret, holding hands and skipping up to Scotland so we can get married away from our horrible
and there'll be some kind of
parents.
Mystical ancient Scottish tradition that I'll have to do, like eating some heather.
Yeah.
Or dancing over a broomstick or something, and then we'll be married.
I did think it felt a little bit less shocking than with Nick and Leanne, though. I think because they were the first ones to do it back in '97.
Well,
I think it was.
Also with Kelly and Aadi, I'm like, they're not going to go to Gretna Green. I don't believe this for a minute.
Yeah, that is part of it, I suppose.
Whereas
it
Nick
doesn't
and Leanne,
feel
it's like
yeah. Also, I mean, I would say that out of Kelly, Aadi, Nick and Leanne, Aadi seems to have seems to be the most sensible one, and it's like, it's maybe he could make a thing out of this. As ridiculous as it is, he's got his head screwed on. Nick and Leanne didn't. So. Nick was a total doofus, wasn't he?
He was a drip.
Drippy Nick, like
Adam, Nicky, Ricky, Dicky.
What an idiot.
He was.
Leanne just like...
Well, look, let's just talk about it. Nick and Leanne were like two opposites, weren't they?
They were the Capulets and the Montagues, weren't they?
Yeah, Leanne Battersby was common as muck, and Nick was like the golden child of Gail Platt. And she was completely aghast when she found out that they were together, and even more upset when she heard that they were going to go and get married, or wanted to get married. So the drama there was very much kind of like, from the wrong side of the track, sort of a, chalk and cheese kind of a thing. There was even that scene where she's getting her wedding dress and she like steals it from the shop, and Nick is completely shocked. Yeah. And with Aadi and Kelly, they honestly do feel way more mature. Even though when I'm looking back and I can see Nick and Leanne when they were going to go to Gretna Green, they look much older than Kelly and Aadi.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Kelly and Aadi look like two little children to me because I've seen them and they do look like their age. I don't know how much. I think Nick and Leanne were very similar ages to their characters.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't understand it. I think it must have just been when my age when I watched them first.
Yeah.
And also the fact that
because they were our age then, weren't they, originally?
And when you're that age, you're like, I'm very sensible.
Leanne's about our age.
This is the sort of thing that we should be allowed to do.
Yeah.
So I find that very interesting. But I do think that Aadi and Kelly could actually make a go of it, because I think that they're very sweet, and I also feel like they've had a lot of life experience that would lead them to perhaps forgive in situations where others might not.
Yes, that's very true.
You've got to be quite forgiving to survive a marriage and a soap.
Yeah. It's funny that in both of the storylines, it's the boy who's like the golden child, kind of, going and being wooed away by this...
the rough woman.
Yeah, basically.
This is like this is the age-old story of like what, the mother-in-law from hell who doesn't want her beautiful son to be taken away. This time it's Dev is the mother-in-law.
Yeah. It's so and then you got I don't know what I'm saying. What did you think of Gary and Maria's reactions to
They were just like not bothered. Like Maria's like, I strongly advise against it, but I
liked how Maria mentioned her engagement to Tyrone as well, because you even put a tweet out, didn't you, about it, and then literally within minutes later, Maria mentioned it.
As I was writing it, she said it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to post it
anyway. So that was cool that she has also had experience of young love that didn't necessarily go the way that they dreamed it would. But yeah, Gary's just like, oh, whatever.
I think the thing is, Gary's not her dad, and there's an element of being removed from the situation where he's not responsible for her particularly, and I think he probably thinks, I don't know that I can really stop them from doing anything that they want to do, so the best thing is to just support them and make sure they're safe. So, it's just like, look, get married if you want to. Here are some condoms. Do you know what I mean?
He's probably just glad that Kelly would be moving out, because he's been worried about her being underneath their roof all this time and potentially uncovering the shocking revelation that he was the one that killed her dad. And I was like, oh yeah, off you go and live with Aadi. I
just think that it's probably more sensible to support somebody who you think's doing something crazy, because they'll probably not listen to you, and you can be there to help pick up the pieces when it inevitably goes wrong. It's probably more loving to try to stop them, but I don't think that it's a strategy that works very often.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Like I would probably be more like Gary. Like, if you're going to do it. It's not a good idea though.
Yeah. It also reminded me a bit, and I can't remember exactly what everyone's reaction was, but when Stephen and Vicky got married, back in the mid-90s, and
now Alec, there you go. See, she's the golden child there, and he's the bit rough.
Yes, that's true. Actually,
if you want to get married young on Coronation Street, you got to have a rough one.
And I think with the McDonalds, were they more supportive than the Gilroys? What? Alec was schemed against it, didn't he? He was able to talk them out of it.
If you're Liz, you're like, yes, free horse, go for it.
So
what was that horse's name?
Saracen.
Yes.
So I found this very, very fun. I was a bit disappointed that it didn't turn up on Friday's episode. I just love them as a couple. I think Aadi and Kelly are just really cute, gorgeous and cute together.
Unexpectedly sweet.
Yeah.
Pairing there.
Yeah.
I think we said this many, many times before, but Corrie really can do it when they want to. I think sometimes they think they don't need to put so much effort in because it will happen inevitably over time. But I'm telling you, it doesn't happen inevitably.
You need to actually get a bit of romance.
Sarah and Adam are still like just roommates.
Yeah, I love them. It's just the kind of naivety and the first love and
optimism.
Very,
remember
very
that?
Sweet.
Remember feeling happy about what could happen in the future.
So do you think Yeah, I just can't see them going up to Gretna Green. Some things that get in the way and stop them, isn't it? But
don't get me wrong, I would love to see an on-location Gretna Green in an ill-advised wedding.
Yeah.
I think probably Gretna Green are like, we're putting a blanket ban on media appearances in which two people who shouldn't get married come to Gretna Green. It's bad for business. We want to associate ourselves with love and romance and enduring marriages. Not crazy ex-cons and weirdo golf boys coming.
So do you think that they're going to just try and sneak off there like Nick and Leanne did? Or are they going to... Like, because Dev currently thinks that they're not engaged. Yeah, I guess, I suppose it wouldn't take much for him to be able to convince... to him to speak to Gary and Maria and them saying, no, the engagement's still on. Or do they think it's off? I don't know. I'm
sure we'll find out. I'm not
sure
that intrigued.
I
can wait.
I hope that the story's back next week because it's another. This is what I was saying earlier. It's been a really, on the whole, enjoyable week. Yes, there was a bit of summer, but that was only Monday. It's been cool. And then you got Toyah's storyline come along, which feels like it's been very, very quiet for a long time. She's on a mission this week, isn't she? She's to save the planet from the evil Nadeem Atallah.
Dazeem. So notorious polluter and climate terrorist.
Is that what she... Oh, I do.
No, it was known polluter. I love polluter. That. I love the way she's like.
Polluter.
I love the use of the word known. It's like she's not gonna give up on the idea that everyone could be doing it, but she knows for a fact that he is.
I want them to have the next scene that they have at Weatherfield Police Station. Behind the desk is a picture of this guy that just says "Wanted, known polluter."
Yeah.
Anyway,
and also the fact, like, honestly, aren't we all? That's what makes me laugh about this. Does Toyah think that because she has a bag for life and she rinses out her plastic that she's not a known polluter?
Right. So Toyah's getting and chatting with Peter on Wednesday's episode, and she's been a bit of
she's pariah.
Yeah, she is. That's
pariah Carrie.
Yes. She was because she's been doing she's defending Imran, and
because she killed a man,
him apparently, and everything. Peter's like, I don't think you killed him. I know what you're like. You wouldn't do that.
I know you're a bad driver.
Yeah,
I know it was an accident.
So he has to have lunch with her later, and then this is when Toyah goes off and Carla comes bouncing over to him, all excited that she's got this meeting with potential supplier.
Known polluter.
Later. And she's like, this will wipe the smile off Sarah and Stephen's faces when I work with her and not Sarah's.
I think it's a man.
This guy idea. Yeah, sorry, him. Yeah. So Peter and Toyah meet up, and Toyah's kind of talking to him about some of the protests.
Did you hear that? Did you hear what happened today?
What?
Some people, was it Extinction Rebellion, glued themselves to the speaker's chair.
Oh really?
Parliament, yeah.
Oh no, I didn't. Emily Bishop wouldn't.
I think it's great. I love seeing what they get up to. I think that Toyah should. What should Toyah glue herself to? The calling boy.
Oh yeah.
And if you're like, no more updates of news. No one's going to find out that there's a fete on Saturday because I'm going to glue myself to the boy.
Well, it could happen because it's outside the factory, isn't it? So Nina's there. She's kind of showing an interest in it all as well because she likes protesting.
Well, she likes the planet too.
She does. She loves this planet. And then Spider and Griff arrive.
Yeah.
And Peter's like saying, oh yeah, well, it's all very well saying that you're protesting and everything, but you never beat the system.
Excuse me, Peter. You're the one that was ranting on about this surgeon trying to...
Oh yeah, Thorn.
Do you think he's learned that he can never beat Thorn and that everything's rigged against him?
Because
this is a very strange thing for him to be saying.
Did Thorn get beaten, or is he all right?
Because what happened with that?
I can't remember.
But Peter was railing against the idea of the injustice inherent in the system, and now he's like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone's just going to die. It's fine.
So when Peter goes, Griff explains. Because Peter says something like, I can't even remember how...
I've got to go because my wife's got an appointment with Dazeem.
There's something like that.
And Griff's like, I know who that is.
Yeah, Griff and Spider kind of give each other looks, and then when Peter goes, they explain to Toyah that he's a massive, evil, polluting capitalist kind of guy.
Great.
And so Griff wants to rally the troops to protest against him, and when he comes having a meeting with Carla next week, they're gonna wave their fists at him and shout some rhyming protest songs.
The only way I can get through this is to completely divorce the idea that we are actually killing the planet and horrors await us, unimaginable horrors that we've already seen the beginnings of now, because it does depress me. I dwell on it quite a lot, more than is healthy. It keeps me up at night, and I don't really know what can be done about it. But I have completely divorced that reality from this story because it's so stupid and fun, and I don't want to. Because I like I said, I really think that we do need to do some stuff, but I just don't think that fanning about with
placards is going to...
Well, in the show, I think in real life we should protest, but this doesn't feel to me like a serious story, and maybe I'm wrong.
It's bad, and it's just the same with Maria, who is surprisingly not doing anything during this storyline. Like, why is Maria not interested in this in the slightest when you couldn't shut her up about climate change earlier
It's weird how many characters are in the show that have had very serious stories about, you know, their beliefs about the planet. Like Roy, Nina, you know, Roy's conservation with bats and stuff. You'd think that might come up. Maria talking about the bypass and things like that. It just feels quite disjointed.
Yeah, I just think it's bad that it is made to look like a bit of a joke. Like, Maria going on about it earlier this year, there weren't very many people that were saying, yeah, go Maria, oh, amazing scene. It just kind of felt like Maria was being a bit of a nag. And I'm getting the same vibe from Toyah.
She just feels like
she's been a bit crazy, isn't she?
It feels like if you were going to write propaganda to put people off of being environmentalists, this is what it would look like.
Yeah,
but I genuinely don't think that's the intention. I think Coronation Street, like, they have their commitments to, you know,
the Greens.
Being a green producer or whatever they call themselves.
Yeah.
And I think everybody, you know, who's sensible, I'm sorry if that offends you, realises that we have to do something. Not everybody knows what to do, but these characters just kind of being and it's hard because it's sanctimonious, isn't it? I think it's just that knee-jerk reaction that people get when they think they're being judged. That's it. It's not...
Yeah.
It's like the same way that people get about religious people, or the same way you get about someone who might be vegan or something. It's not them doing anything wrong. It's just that you feel like you're being judged by them because you know that by their kind of standard or way of living, you are actually quite a horrible person. You know.
Anyway, so Toyah.
So I'm just ignoring that.
Yeah, Toyah seems to be being convinced by the end of Wednesday's episode because they're planning to ambush this guy when he arrives at the factory. She needs a bit of convincing because she thinks that doing this on her own doorstep isn't the best idea, despite the fact that she was protesting right outside her doorstep just a couple of months ago. And Spider seems like he's really trying to put Toyah off of doing this, isn't he?
Well, he's worried that she's going to...
It's going to affect her
trial.
But, I mean, there's got to be more because we know that Spider's got a big secret or something. He's up to something, isn't he? He's up to something dodgy. He had that phone call a couple of weeks ago. So whatever's going on there,
Griff doesn't care.
Doesn't want Toyah to get in trouble.
Let's expose this guy and his unethical working practices, which we are never going to fully explain to the viewer.
Well, he's got, like, didn't they say that he's got sweatshops abroad or
But that's
or
not the same
like
as being a polluter, is it?
I think it's a bit of everything.
He's just really awful.
Yeah, he's all round wrong-un, really. He's going to be wrong-un of the year this year, for sure.
Because really, you'd think, I would say that Toyah and Spider and Griff would say it's better to exploit human beings than the planet. So you should, having a sweatshop is better than polluting the planet.
Right, Friday then. So Griff's scoping out the factory. Griff scoping out the factory at the beginning of the episode, and Spider and Toyah are kind of loitering around as well. Leanne's also scoping out Griff, going, "What's that dirty hippie doing outside? What's he up to now?" So,
Leanne is an agent of the man.
Yeah, so she asks Toyah about it in the bistro later, and Toyah says, "Oh, this is where she says that Carla's doing business with climate terrorists." Isn't she and just using words like that just makes her sound like a nutcase, doesn't it? I feel really bad for her.
It's difficult because, you know, these overblown kind of hyperbolic phrases do put people off, but is it not the truth?
I know.
You know, how can you really...
That's why we can't win.
But I also come back to the idea that, you know, you hear people getting criticised, like, oh, Taylor Swift's Taylor Swift's private jet did 200 trips last year. Oh, so terrible. Oh, and look at all these people going to climate change meetings in their limousines and whatever. But you think, well, yeah, but compared to some poor people that, you know, live, they sort of live in the place they were born, and they don't have a car, they don't have a computer or a phone or anything. We're also evil polluters who are killing the planet. We're killing the planet just as much.
I thought you were going to say that you got some people like that, and you got some people like Taylor Swift, and it balances itself out.
Yeah, Taylor Swift versus Dazeem.
So Toyah, as if she needed to prove any more that she wasn't a crazy environmental nutcase, marches into the factory saying to Carla, "Do you know about this Nadeem guy and about his unethical working practices and about how he's polluting the planet? And there's going to be consequences if you work with him." And Carla's like, "I don't care. Sod off. You don't even work here anymore." I like how she said you're trespassing as well, by the way, because there seems to be a revolving door on that factory where anybody can walk in whenever they want to talk to someone.
Can I just
say, the
say,
moment Toyah, somebody who was an ex-employee and maybe has got some reason to be there, as soon as she walks in, she's accused of trespassing. Unfair.
I just want to say that I've worked out what Sarah's amazing business plan is.
What?
Get a receptionist.
Yeah, somebody who can decide who is and isn't allowed.
Somebody who stops people walking in willy-nilly and like distracting all the workers for hours on end.
Yeah, production would go through the ceiling if
about climate terrorism.
All these
and also somebody could go and get cakes for the cake run.
Yeah. Anyway, so she kind of says, "Look, you still hanging out with all your crusties there?" And Toyah's like,
"Oh, how dare you!
How dare you!" So she kind of clops off. And then she gets together with Spider and Griff and says, "You know what? Carla doesn't even care about who she's working with. Let's have a protest about it." And Griff's like, "Yeah, protest, I love them." Spider says, "Toyah, don't think you should get involved." At first, he kind of says to Griff that Toyah's a liability, doesn't he? He kind of insults her to try and put her off. And she's
him
like,
off, yeah,
him off, sorry. And then she's like, "Well, what are you calling me that for?" And Spider says, "Look, I'm just trying to protect you. Griff's going to get you in trouble." So he's kind of, Toyah's like, "Hang on, I thought Griff was your friend." So there's clearly
some kind of tension.
Yeah, I think Griff believes that Spider is 100% his friend, but whatever the secret is that Spider's got, he doesn't trust Griff. So
I think that going back to what we were saying about how this is difficult to sympathise with, the thing is there's a lot of black and white thinking going on here, isn't there? At no point are Toyah and co saying to Carla, "I understand you're in a difficult position," and Carla's not saying anything like, "Look, I've got to go with Dazeem because I can't afford these fancy eco, organic cottons or whatever it is that you want me to buy." People can't afford to buy pants that are made, with completely pollution free. Do you know how much that would really cost? We're going into a recession. People can't afford to eat. They can't afford to spend extra money on these luxury goods that are guilt free. And they don't seem to have spoken to themselves about this, going, how can we put pressure on this business to do what we ask them to do without... I know they want to protest, but they haven't gone, "Look, here's another person who might be able to supply you with something." You know what I mean? Yeah. Everyone's just really black and white. And unfortunately, Carla, with her black and white thinking equally, is still the status quo. So it's easier to sympathise with Carla because she's doing what we all do, not caring about it or even giving it a second thought.
Yeah, totally. And then Spider as well, he's probably like, "I've only got one pair of pants anyway, so why do we even need to buy pants?" Don't need to.
The thing is, this is not really a story about the environment, is it? This is a story about Toyah and Spider and
the
what's up with
and
that.
The trial and everything.
But I would have thought that Corrie would have... I don't know. I mean, there is a long heritage, isn't there, of climate protesting and environmentalism on Coronation Street with these characters in particular. I just think it was easier to sympathise with them when they were just sitting up a tree like a bunch of...
Well, it feels like
hobbits
if this story had an Emily character or a Roy character or a really beloved, level-headed person on Toyah's side to make her look a bit less crazy.
It's because she's being isolated by everybody.
Yeah.
And even Leanne, her sister, is like, you're batty.
Yeah. Right, so we'll get to that in a minute. So anyway, Spider says, look, this is when he tells Toyah he loves her. And
I know. I was like, Michael!
Is there going to be another snog after the Jenny and Stephen snog?
She leans in to kiss him.
Yeah.
And then he rejects her.
Rand's barely cold.
And leaves.
I know. He gets all a bit awkward, and then he's not answering her texts and everything.
I think Toyah's having a mental break.
She totally is. She really is.
Well, she goes off and tells Leanne about it, and then she's like, Leanne's like, "What's everyone going to think?" And Toyah's like,
"What are you getting yourself into?" Then Toyah says to Leanne, "You should bar Carla from coming into the bistro."
Well, she says you should bar Carla Barla.
And Leanne's like, "You are ridiculous. We're adults." She's like saying maybe all of that climbing up a tree stuff was great when you were 16, 17, but yeah, now she says you're 40. Yeah, you wrote that earlier.
You're 40, on bail, jobless, and kipping in our spare room.
Yeah, she says.
Can I just say at least one of those things is your fault, actually, to Leanne?
Which one?
She's kipping in a room.
Oh yeah.
She told her to do it.
She says maybe sort your life out first, and then the rest of the world. And Toyah kind of leaves and rushes off down the cobbles on the phone.
Toyah's right here because she's like, I think she says something like, it's more important now than it even was then.
Yeah, she did. Everything she's saying is right.
Yeah, she's not wrong.
But she's not saying it in a way that's making her look level-headed. When Leanne was saying, sort your life out, we're grown up now, I was like saying, yeah, Leanne, you kind of got a point there. A lot of this is just a bit of a distraction technique because she's got this horrible trial coming up, which, who wants that
I do think a lot of that
on the horizon.
I think she's just out of control. Like, she can't control what happens in the trial. She's lost the love of her life. She is adrift in the world, but she can definitely control, she can go and demand things, and Carla ignores her, and she's thinking, this is another thing that I don't have any control over. But then she's thinking, no, actually I can stop Carla from doing this. I can show her that she's wrong and I'm right, and maybe that is a substitute for righting all the other wrongs in her life. But I mean, honestly, if you look at like this, the time scale of the world, and which has been around for billions of years, and you think about how important it is whether Toyah's going to get banged up for killing Imran, or you think about whether it's important that the planet's going to set itself on fire. It's a bit more important that she stops this planet from setting on fire, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's bad that like you can sympathise with what Leanne was saying there. Like when Spider and Toyah were younger, it felt like, oh yeah, maybe they could change the world, and they're full of hope. And now Spider really does just look like a sad old hippie, doesn't he? He's still there in his tatty old costume, and he looks like a sad, washed up old no-hoper. He's like, you're not going to save the world, are you, Spider?
You're mean.
But it's bad that when you get to an age where maybe you might be able to do something, people think that you're being childish and a fantasist for thinking that we can save the planet.
Well, look,
and the children are all about saving the planet, aren't they? They love the environment. Just children in general, like, yeah, go planet. We're going to save the planet.
Like
but yeah, exactly. We were like it too. And then you kind of get old, and you get to the age where maybe you could do something, and you get you think like, oh, I'm too old about it now, or you feel sad for doing it. But
can I just say that as children we did save the planet, because our main problems were the hole in the ozone layer and acid rain.
We did, you're right.
And we solved both those problems.
Hole in the ozone layer.
And now it's your turn, children.
Yes, we fixed that right.
You can sort out carbon crisis. Thank you very much.
Anyway, so Toyah kind of she does her own stunts, doesn't she?
Yep.
Sprinting down those cobbles.
That is
phone in one hand, so she's not even looking where she's going.
Ankle sprain waking.
It totally is, and she catches Griff outside the tram station. Is like, I will do whatever it takes to help you. Yes, I am up for protesting.
Well, this was quite significant because she's meeting Griff secretly against Leanne and Spider's advice. So she thinks that this is more important.
Yeah. So I mean, is Spider going to be part of this protest on Monday? He seemed like he was up for it, but just didn't want Toyah involved, didn't he? So, but there's something funny going on with him. So I don't know. I'm definitely.
He loves her. If he really does love her, then I think he's just trying to stop her from going and getting arrested when she's on bail. Because it seems obvious to me that that when Toyah's saying I'll do whatever it takes, there's a sort of insinuation there that perhaps Griff has some tactics in mind, like some kind of maybe like tripping people up or something. I don't know, or like maybe he wants to throw blood on people because that's always a good move. Maybe he's planning some kind of stunt like that. And Spider knows that.
And Toyah just thinks it's going to be waving a few banners around.
Yeah, and Spider. But why doesn't Spider just tell her, like, this is going to be way more deep than you think it's going to be? Don't come.
I wonder.
Why don't you just print some leaflets?
When he said that he loved her, do you think he really does love her, or did he just say that to try and convince her?
I think he meant. I don't think he meant to say it. I think it came out.
Did it? I couldn't tell whether it just slipped out or whether he wanted it to sound like it just slipped out.
No, he loves her. They've been in love for years, Michael. This is the only way we can accept. Listen. This is the only way. Shut up. This is the only way we can accept that from happening, isn't it? Because really, Spider was her first love.
I know.
We all love Imran. Well, we all do. We all miss him.
I think Dobber Dobson would have something to say about that one.
Well, I've moved on from him. But so this, is the only character that would have made sense for Toyah to move on so quickly from Imran. But it's like, oh man, you've not even been cleared for killing him.
I know.
It's just unfortunate timing, isn't it? That's Coronation Street all over.
Oh, I hope he stays.
Spider.
I hope whatever secret he's got up to, it's just kind of something of nothing, and Toyah can forgive him when she inevitably finds out. And I don't know, but I thought that.
I've got no idea what this blooming secret could be that he's got up his sleeve. Maybe he is just in cahoots with the more seedy side of these protests, and
he seems to have got another woman, doesn't he? Because. That's what I was wondering about the I love you, because when he had that secret phone call the other week and he's like, I can't wait to get back to you as well, or something along those lines. That's true. Felt like he had another love there. Which is when he said I love you, Toyah.
Maybe
I didn't know whether he meant it.
In love with the king of protest's daughter. And he doesn't want, and he's fallen out of
Princess Protest.
Yeah, Princess Protest. He loved her, and now he's fallen out of love with her. But he knows that if he rejects her, then he will be cast out from Protest Kingdom.
Yeah.
And he wants to stay there because he knows he can do good. So now he's having to juggle two women. And he does respect Princess Protest, but no longer is in love with her.
I think you're right.
And so he has to let her down gently. But she is vengeful, and she might throw some red paint on him.
Okay. What are your expectations for this protest?
Holding up signs and going rah rah rah.
I hope that it's
and maybe
decent.
Pushing Carla over.
Like
maybe it's to push Carla under a crash mat.
The salon opening scenes this week showed that they can get a good load of people out together on the street, can't they? And what I do not want is for the protest to be like 3 or 4 people. There
will be 4 extras who will look too happy to be there because they'll be smiling with their signs when they really should just be quite cross.
Because they still don't know at the moment when this bloke's coming, do they?
They'll be pointing at people.
I want them to set up proper barricades and everything. I want it to be huge.
I want it to be like Les Mis.
It feels like it's just gonna I
want them to get out and bring out a big elephant.
It's probably gonna be really quick and a bit rubbish, and it will just add on to what I was saying, that these group of protesters are made to look a bit pathetic for what they're doing, which is actually very good idea.
Roy standing there with his bag in his hand, looking slightly confused.
I want Roy to be involved. I want Nina to be involved. I want Emily Bishop to come back down south so that she can do it.
Nina with a wooden spoon that says, you can't sit at this table if you're a notorious polluter.
I want Leanne to change her mind and realise that supporting her sister is the most important thing, and her to get involved.
Maria there going, only allowed to park here if you've got a permit.
If Maria's not involved, it's really missing a trick.
And I want Sally on the other side going, reasonably priced pants, pollute, get over it. Pollution is a fact of life.
I can
Climate
only assume...
change isn't real. The earth is flat.
I think that probably something big will happen there.
You can grow your own concrete.
I can only imagine something big is going to happen there that will affect Toyah's trial somehow, just to add to the drama.
Maybe she'll glue herself to Carla.
And
it'll be a funny buddy comedy where Carla and Toyah have to like negotiate various funny awkward moments, like Carla needs a poo or it's shower time and they're glued to each other. What will happen?
Sounds good. Gemma, I have to break this to you. You've got the Stommer storyline. Only one day though.
One day.
And it's the birthday.
Oh, it's her birthday. How old is she?
18. She's a grown-up now.
28. Monday, Summer comes home from sexy time at the hotel for a big birthday surprise from her gay dads. After the meal...
Oh, yeah, she's done it, hasn't she? Aaron.
She's a woman now.
Yeah.
After the meal... You're a woman, Summer. After the meal, Billy presents Summer with a letter from Drew. He says, here's a missed opportunity for you. She doesn't know what to do with it. She kind of gets a bit freaked out, and she makes an excuse to slip out, saying that she needs to call Aaron. And later on, Summer's not come back. The dads go hunting. Good dad hunting. Eventually, she comes home. She sits with Billy. She admits she hasn't opened the letter yet. She knows it's going to be full of all these dreams, and she's going to let him down. And Billy says he wasn't even bothered about you going to Oxford. He didn't even know about it, so don't worry about it. Billy says, everyone makes mistakes, and seeing you grow has been the greatest privilege of my life. I wouldn't change anything about you. And Drew would say the same, and she's sobbing, but she feels like encouraged by his words. Then the diabetes nurse phones Billy and says, oh, you can have one of them monitors. And he's like, hooray, what another birthday gift. She's not happy about this, especially when she hears that it was Aaron's idea and he organised it behind her back. And Aaron comes in with some birthday flowers for her, but she storms off in a huff.
They're the pantsist flowers, weren't they? Didn't he say you pinched them off a grave or something? I can't remember what he said about it, but they look very sorry for themselves, considering it's your girlfriend's 18th birthday.
Yeah.
You think, I know you gave her a pretty important present last night.
Hopefully not.
But come on, those flowers.
Is there going to be a pre-19-year-old Summer baby?
Maybe.
Summer argues with Aaron in the street and sends him off with his flea in his ear. Then she has a cafe meet up with her friends, Asha, Nina and Amy, and they give her a vegan carrot cake. For some reason, Summer's not in the mood. She leaves. Then she reads the letter and it was fairly uninspiring. Well, she meets up with Aaron in Seb's garden later and apologises for being a nightmare and gives him the letter and he reads it out. And it didn't
really say much, does it?
No, I won't be able to see you grow up. I know that Billy will be a great dad. You're going to grow into a brilliant woman. I'll always be watching over you. It was sweet. It wasn't sweet. It didn't have any revelations in it. It wasn't like... It was,
No dark Summer Spellman family secret or anything.
Your name isn't really Spellman.
I was hoping for a...
Mayonnaise.
I was hoping for a surprise
it's such a silly name that I changed it.
I was hoping for a surprise visit from Granny Spellman.
Yeah.
Because they're not on bad terms, are they? I'm sure there were scenes where Summer used to go and visit Granny Spellman. Maybe she's dead. Maybe she didn't survive COVID.
Probably not. Dear Summer, it's me, Drew. Remember, your dad.
Your fourth dad.
I am dead, or am I? Look behind you. It's me. I'm alive.
I thought you put out a tweet on Monday night saying, I'm Drew, the only wish for you is that you're old enough to be recast.
Yeah.
Just tick that one off.
Yeah, exactly. She's doing good for a Coronation Street character. Yeah, good for you, Summer. You got an issue storyline.
Yeah.
Summer feels guilty about messing with her insulin. Billy finds Summer at home later and she says I've been thinking, I've been reading, I'm going to have this monitor after all. He asks to read the letter, he does, he finds it also boring. Summer says, I want you and Drew to be proud of me, and I want to be proud of myself. They have a hug. Is this the end? Please God.
I know, it really feels like it's the end. Don't tease us, Coronation Street, with something that feels like the end of a story, only to have it rear its boring head
Billy's like,
a couple of weeks down the road.
I don't know if this is the end of the story, but I did just order like some padded flooring for all your fainting fits. Yeah. So that will be a waste of money.
Yeah, you better squirt some more like insulin down the sink.
Just think, like, there are countries where people die because they can't afford insulin. She's just there squirting it down the blooming sewer.
Yeah, I know. So, as an 18th birthday celebration, I thought...
Oh, she got a vegan carrot cake, but she also got another vegetable-based
Yeah, she
cake.
did, didn't she? She got two very...
inspiring flavoured cakes.
Yeah, it was really sad. She didn't even get like an official first drink at the Rovers or anything like that. It kind of fits with her character, I suppose. Not everybody has wild parties on their 18th. I certainly didn't. I went to TGI Fridays and I had a steak on my 18th birthday.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I did. It was nice.
I had a bouncy castle.
Oh, there we go then. So yeah. maybe we're closer to summer than we actually thought.
It was the best day of my life. That bouncy castle was absolutely tip top.
I also thought it was weird how we hardly got to see any of Aaron, considering he's her boyfriend. They'd just done the deed the night before. He only made a little cameo appearance towards the middle of the episode there. I thought I thought that the Drew letter thing was kind of nice.
It was sweet. I think
I was heartened by it.
There were a lot of precedent for dramatic or heart-wrenching letters that unfortunately made this a bit of a letdown. But really the point of the letter was to encourage Summer to be a better person. And there's not really a lot that you...
Even from Beyond the Grave, I find you a really boring character. Can you be a better one, please?
Shut up. But you know what I mean. It served its purpose for plot reasons.
I thought it was nice.
And honestly, like... I wouldn't want to have the pressure of entertaining millions of people on my deathbed writing a letter to my kid as I'm dying of cancer. Yeah. So I think he did a pretty good job, considering.
Although the other thing you said to me on Monday night is that maybe he should have written 3 letters to give to Billy. It's like, right, Billy, if she's a total screw-up, give her this letter.
Yeah.
If she's doing okay, give her this letter. If she gets into Oxford, give her this letter.
Yeah.
I can really freak her out by saying, oh, I know you've gone to Oxford.
Dear Summer, I am informed you have screwed your life up.
Maybe that's why the letter was so short. Maybe you did write 10 of them. And he's like, I'm not writing a 2-page essay 10 times. And Summer's going to find all the other versions in the Billy's cupboard at some point.
Dear Summer, I was glad to hear about you and Aaron, but this is in Billy's writing, this word.
Yeah, fill in the blanks, Billy, before you give it to her.
It's a choose your own adventure cancer letter from Beyond the Grave.
Well, whether or not this is the end of Summer's storyline, it did feel like it was a nice pause that should hopefully last for a few weeks, because it feels like there's been an awful lot of Summer recently.
I think I'm getting a bit concerned. I saw somebody on Facebook talking about having a diagnosis or being tested possibly for having diabetes, and saying they were terrified because of Summer's story has made them really, really worry about what it would be like to be diabetic. And it was nice to see a lot of people on our Facebook group saying, look, I have this. It's not
as dramatic as it's made out to be.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. And it does worry me because Coronation Street...
it has a responsibility to kind of educate you a little bit about these issues, but they have made out like having diabetes is a really big problem with this story.
There's definitely a balance to strike between supporting people by mirroring their trauma and showing, like, we understand you, we know what you've been through, this is your story, we're showing it. That can feel very supportive, can't it? That can feel validating when you see something that you're going through being represented in an honest way.
Yeah.
But it also is terrifying if you're kind of possibly coming up to that and you've never been through the experience, and you're gonna possibly have to go through this, and you're watching this character falling on the floor and crying and self-harming and stuff, and you're thinking, I don't know if I'm strong enough. I don't know if I can cope with this. This looks like awful.
But it's all right, because all you need, if you have diabetes and you're a bit worried about it, all you need is a letter from your dead dad to cure you of it.
You just need your dad to die first if he hasn't already.
Yeah. Right, Dyl-emma. What a Dyl-emma. We've got the Dylan storyline. We got to see a nice streetcar scene at the beginning of the week, didn't we? Eileen in streetcars. All is well with the world. So, because Sean goes over there to talk to her about Dylan's problems.
Everything's back to normal on Coronation Street. A new thing that we haven't seen for years appears.
Yeah.
And this is just the latest. I don't know how many more things there are we haven't seen. But it's one of those things where you don't realise. It's like when you suddenly realise that you're tense and you relax your muscles. This is what it's been feeling like in Coronation Street. We've all been kind of like coiled up like springs because of all the pandemic stuff. And then suddenly we're kind of... People are back in the Rovers. There are people sewing knickers in the factory. Eileen is in streetcars. All is right with the world.
So Eileen basically says to Sean, maybe Dylan should stay if he's kind of saying that he's being bullied and everything, and that might be for the best. So back home, Sean tells Eileen that he's been speaking to Violet on the phone. Now, according to her, Violet being Dylan's mum, of course, Dylan hasn't told her anything about being bullied. He's making it all up, apparently. Dylan comes home. He's already missed his train because he's supposed to have gone, and he seems to have purposely missed the train because he wants to stay.
That's £200 down the drain. And you stupid kid.
Sean has a chat with him and's like, you know, you've been bullied. Dylan has to admit to Sean he's not being bullied. He just doesn't like living in London. He likes it here in Weatherfield where all the drama happens.
He's like, I've been to all the museums. It's boring now.
And Sean says, right, okay, I'll speak to Violet about it. Maybe you can stay here. Lawrence is very supportive of this as well. Yes, you're a brilliant dad, he says. And to cut a long story short, by the end of the episode, Sean's had a phone call with Violet. She says, yes, you can have my child. Bit disappointed, but yeah, if you want to keep him.
I just love this so much. She's like, I am disappointed that my only son won't be living with me anymore, but now I think about it, I can shag in the hallway.
I think that this
and I don't need to worry about it.
This whole story is just a massive character assassination for poor Violet. It's making her look like the worst mum in the world, isn't it?
And what happened to Jamie? She's not with Jamie anymore.
No, I think that they'd already split up before.
Wow.
She
ran off. The only reason she ran off with Dylan and Jamie in the first place was because they were apparently so in love with each other.
I know.
They couldn't bear the thought of Sean interfering in their relationship and having claims on the baby. So they ran off, and then as soon as she dumps this man, she should have come crawling back to Weatherfield, but no. What a hussy.
Well, Jenny Platt and Rupert Hill, who play Violet and Jamie, are both, I think they're married.
What, to each other?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
What? Well, come on, guys. Come back.
I think that they really...
You're both alive in the show.
There's been quite a few returns this year. You got your big ones like Wendy and Stephen,
really sweet.
But there's been the odd mini cameo return as well. And I think that they really, really should have tried and get Violet back just for the phone call because
Michael, we know that it's not as easy as you're making out.
No, it's
not. Every single actor is there by the phone going, one day they'll ask me to come back.
Like, they did it with Fiona the other year, didn't they? They had Emma talking to Fiona for a scene, and I just think that it would have felt a lot less rushed if we'd seen this conversation between Sean and Violet. But as it was, it's just like, she says yes, she doesn't care if she never sees you again, as good and as, doesn't he?
And also, you're not getting your stuff back. She's going to sell it.
She just seems to have like rolled over and... What a massive change to her life that would be.
I know.
Because Dylan has been such a small part of Sean's life. I know. He's, 10 now or so?
What, and Dylan?
Yeah.
He's 10?
Oh, no, he's more than that, isn't he?
He looks like he's like 14.
Yeah, maybe he's 14, 15 or so. And he's been with Violet literally 99% of his life.
What, his whole life?
Well, he's had a couple of trips to see Sean, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's
and
not
now it's like, oh yes, you can stay there forever. Can you imagine
she's like,
giving your child up, who is pretty much you've been single parenting?
No, she's right, because there is a cost of living crisis on the horizon. Teenage boys, notorious water wasters, and they go in the showers and you know what they're doing in there. They got the water running, but I don't think they're soaping themselves. Mm. So that's going to save a load of money. She can rent that room out. If she's in London, she can rent that room out for about £800 a month.
Harsh.
Yeah, no, she's right. Also, think of all the food that he eats. He's probably getting through like 3 pints of milk a day and a loaf of bread.
Well, I'm glad he's staying. I'm glad he's staying because he's a fairly decent character. He's been in the show back again for 6-7 weeks now. They've not really given him much of a story, have they? He's been like, he was there when Sean and Frank split up.
Well, he seems to basically have just been his dad's cheerleader for his various boyfriends.
And he's been going off playing football with random people. Like, who did he came in with Max or something, didn't he, at the end of that Monday's episode?
Oh, mate, do you reckon he might become the newest signing at Weatherfield County?
Maybe.
Because everybody knows there's not very many good football clubs in London.
Yeah, he just seems to have... He almost seems to have been brought in to drag up the quality of some of the other younger teens there. And I don't know, but anyway, I'm glad he's staying. He's decent.
I don't dislike the character, but I cannot see how this is going to enhance my enjoyment of Sean.
I can. Because I think it's just a different thing for him to do.
Dylan's going to be the dad here.
I think it's just a different angle of Sean that we've not seen any of. I'm looking forward to it.
Happy to be proven wrong.
Yeah. Right, back to you. Double Trouble. Fern and
How
Burn.
many more stories are there, for God's sake?
A few.
Oh my God.
But these are all like one episoders, I think.
Right, Monday. Bernie's going to head off to the shop to try to track down Fern, who's the posh bird that looks exactly like her, who's stolen her school uniform for her grandson. Chesney and Gemma don't believe that there is a woman who could look like Bernie, which I would take as an insult if I was her. She bets them, if they're proved wrong, they will eat spam butties for a month. And I'm going to say to you, you cannot afford that. Spam is £3 a can. I don't know what you're playing at. She also, that's delicious. Bernie has to try to convince Paul that she's telling the truth when he finds her in the cafe later. And then Bernie's working in the kebab shop. She sees Fern getting off the bus. I don't think Fern knew what a bus was. And going, she chases her to number 5.
If I was like Dev, I'd be fuming that my workers are just leaving their post left, right and centre this week. There's Gemma chasing after Leo when she's in the middle of a shift. Bernie's going after Fern. Like, there's unlooked after, unguarded donners.
You know also that if Spider and Co weren't busy with Adele Dazeem, they'd be in there protesting the conditions under which the poor lamb was raised.
They'd be taking it off its rack and putting it back in the field where it belongs.
Yeah. So,
she goes and tracks down Fern.
Fern's brought back the school uniform and she says, I'm sorry, I overreacted yesterday. Also, just out of interest, could you please pretend to be me?
Do you want to make this an identical twin story?
Can you pretend to be me at a speed awareness course tomorrow? I'll pay you £200. And Bernie's like, I don't know. Everyone always thinks I'm a criminal.
I don't think it's tomorrow. I've actually written yesterday in the notes here, which doesn't make sense.
No.
At some point. The adventures haven't happened yet.
No, we haven't had this. Fern gives her card in case she changes her mind, and that's also how you can tell she's posh.
She's got a card.
She's got a calling card. Gemma and Chesney get back.
Leanne used to have a calling card. She ain't that posh.
Yeah. Gemma and Chesney get back later and have to admit that Bernie was telling the truth about this lookalike, and Bernie says, Fern's got a job for me, but she won't say what it is. And then she goes and Gemma tells Chesney that they should give her the benefit of the doubt for the time being. Are we going to get to see the speed awareness course? And also, I don't think you need to look like the person to pretend to be them to go on a speed awareness course. I don't think the police care.
I don't know whether you need to
Do you have to show your...
Yeah, show your driving license.
Maybe you have to show your driving license. Yeah, but I don't look like my driving license anymore.
Well, Bernie and Fern don't look identical, do they? But...
That's my point, yeah. Get anybody to do it.
I don't know, we might see it. Do you think that she'll do it?
My question is, can Bernie drive? I don't think she can. She strikes me as the sort of person that never learned.
It's alright, I don't think you need to be able to drive to go to a driver's awareness course.
I think you do.
They don't test you.
I think they do.
Do you think?
I think
right,
you need
now
to...
we've taught you and showed you all these videos of car crashes and things. Get in this car and drive over there 30 miles an hour without killing anyone. Just to prove you've learned a lesson.
I think you need to demonstrate some sort of awareness about the various things that I might talk about, which I think Bernie's a loudmouth idiot and she'll probably give herself away. Be like, oh, what's a gearbox?
But she wants £200.
Is that where you put your braces?
It's the beginning of term now anyway, isn't it? So they really need that school. Oh no, they've got a school uniform. It's fine. I hope that we get to see this. This is the kind of twin shenanigan that I was after last week when Fern appeared on the programme. So...
Oh, hang on. We should probably explain what a speed awareness course is for people that aren't in this country. Well, the speed awareness course. So in this country, if you're speeding, you can get points on your licence and a fine, can't you? Or you can just not get any points on your licence. And if you get too many points on your licence, you lose your licence. I think... How many are you allowed? Like 3 or something?
I don't remember.
It's 3 points if you get caught speeding. And if you get 12, you get banned.
I don't know.
I'm not really sure, but basically you have to pay money to go on this speed awareness course, and you can only do it once, can't you?
No idea.
I think the first time you get caught speeding, you can either take your points on your license or go on this course, and so you avoid the points, but you have to pay more money, and you go on this course, and they basically just make you feel like crap for going 35 in a 30 zone or whatever, and tell you do you know people could die?
Taking photos on your phone when you're driving.
Yeah, it's very naughty.
But is that why Fern came on the bus to see Bernie? Because she just couldn't trust herself.
No, maybe she's not allowed. Maybe you're not allowed to drive until you've been on the speed awareness course.
Anyway, hope they have more than that. I'm surprised that we didn't have more of that this week because it felt like it was building up to something. But what we did get on Friday's episode, is the Wendy story. Now, this is another character who kind of came in to do a very, very small role with Abby, but now it finally feels like she's getting a very own story to herself, which surprised me because I would never have thought that come September, Stephen, Wendy and Spider would still be characters. I thought at least some of them would be little minor ones in for a few weeks, but now she's getting a beginning of her own story. And it looks like there is still something in the air between her and Ken, and Abby is very much in favour of this. Ken comes into the cafe and sees Wendy and invites her... What? Ben Carlo comes into the thank you. Comes into the cafe and says, "Do you want to come to a musical that's on in Manchester?" And she politely turns him down. And Abby says, "Wendy, what's going on between you and Ken then? Weren't you? I thought you were getting on." And Wendy says, "Look, we're fine. We're not enemies or anything, but we're not exactly friends. I think it'd be a bit weird if we were friends. And there's lots of people around here, like Rita and that wouldn't really like the idea of me hanging around Ken too much." So she goes to pay for a cream horn or whatever it is that she has, but she hasn't got a card with her. Oh no. But Ken...
No, she had to pay £12.50 for a cheese pie.
Whatever it is she had, yeah.
Well, how big was the cheese pie?
Huge. Ken comes over because he's all cool and with it, and he bops his phone to pay for it. Didn't know he'd know how to do that. And she says, "Look, I'm going to pay you back. I'm not going to be in debt to you or anything." So she pops around his house later with the cash for him, and they talk about this musical again. And again, she says, "I just don't want to get people's backs up." But before long, he's able to charm her round. Then it kind of turns into all the stuff with the play. Now, throughout the episode, Mary's been going around trying to get people to sign up to this play. Roxana, I can't remember what it was supposed to be. But anyway, Mary's doing some work with the local Amdram Society, and she's getting people to sign up to audition. And it just so happens that back in the day, Wendy was quite into that sort of thing. Mary's thrilled to hear that she's found somebody else to audition for her. Mary also is able to convince Evelyn to sign up for it as well. So I'm sure it's all going to be lots of larks when all of these characters and probably no other characters, nobody that's not a major character auditions for it.
Who's auditioning?
Hijinks will ensure. I don't know. I think it's literally Wendy and Evelyn at the moment. I can't remember whether she convinced anyone else. So there probably will be some other people. Ken, maybe. I don't know.
Carry on.
That's it. That's literally it. They've signed up to be in Mary's play, and it could be a lot of fun. It feels like it's going to be just a very low key sort of story, doesn't it? A bit of a classic Corrie comedy sort of story, but a nice one with the oldies. Mary sometimes, I'm a bit wary of that she can be a bit OTT, but I love how it's going to be something for Wendy to do.
I am kind of interested in this. Yeah,
I'm really excited for Wendy to get a storyline.
Yeah, it seems like a funny thing and a very traditional Coronation Street thing to do, because right from the very beginning they always used to put on plays and pantos and things, and very traditional, and also quite funny sometimes to see the actors pretending to be bad at acting. Yeah.
But nice respite from all the bin flinging drama that we're getting in some of the
and Stephen
the high stakes storylines.
And Stephen to be in the play and get really hat up that he doesn't get cast as the lead and start throwing Evelyn around.
Well, we'll see more of this in the coming weeks, I'm sure.
Finally, Sam. Friday, Sam and Hope are all dressed up for the first day at big school, and he's determined to go on the bus, and he goes to post something, a letter. But he sees Hope's there, and he doesn't want everyone to know that he's going to post something, so he kind of hides it. After school, Sam gets invited to Hope's house for tea, but he says no, so he can post his letter. But Hope's spying on him and sees him doing this. And then Sam and Hope are on the walkie-talkie, and she asks him about the letter, and he lies about it and says it's to do with chess. And she doesn't believe him. And he says if she threatens him if he doesn't tell her what's going on, and he threatens her back because she also has a secret correspondence with this person she's talking to on the internet.
Mad dog.
Who we still don't know who this is.
No, that was like 3 or 4 weeks ago that we saw her doing
this. This is like, I totally forgot that even happened. So what the hell is going on? I really hope they're not being groomed, because that's not fun.
No, I'm not really interested in the Hope side of it, to be honest. Like when she started doing that, I was like, oh, no, I don't need more Dobbs and Stape stuff for the moment. I enjoyed Fizz and Tyrone, but I'm still not as massive a Hope fan as a lot of other Corrie viewers seem to be. So I'm not too fussed about that. But I am quite intrigued about Sam's letter and the fact that they've given Sam a story. I thought it was very cute seeing them dressed up in their Weatherfield High uniforms today.
Yeah.
Going into year 7.
I can't believe he's in year 7.
I know. I think it's if they're going to give anybody a story about the massive shift from primary school to secondary school, Sam's the one.
I don't think it's going to be about that, though.
I'd love it to be, though, because he's just the sort of child that's going to be a bit of a fish out of water. And
well, he's a big fish in a little pond at the moment, isn't he? I think. I bet all the teachers dote on him, especially because they know his mum died, and they probably think he's like, very precocious and sweet. But in secondary school, no one's going to care.
No,
and he's
they're not.
He's surrounded by kids that are smarter than he is.
People that are smarter than him, maybe, but I think there's going to be an awful lot of nasty children that will prey on him for being a massive geek.
He's very gullible as well.
It seems like, totally. He's totally naive and gullible and everything. So I think that, that would be, it seems to me to be quite an obvious story for it to go down. But, there is this letter thing as well. The only other thing that I thought of that it could be is it this girl that he was playing chess with back in the spring, the one he had a bit of a crush on? Is he got a bit of it's got to be that, a bit of a pen pal, a bit of a love letter that he's sending? I mean, that's why he wants to do it secretly, because he's a bit shy about it. Although why he can't just walkie-talkie her instead, I don't know. So
out of range.
I am. Yes, you spoiled it. I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah, but who's Hope talking to? Because we had this, wasn't there some theory that it might have been Phil or?
Somebody said that. I don't think that's true.
Oh, maybe it's Stape's daughter.
Jade.
Yeah, maybe it's Jade.
I don't know. Could be. I can't.
Well, there's a very small pool of people that it could be that we already know. So it's either somebody that we know. Obviously, it's either someone we know or someone we don't know. So if it's somebody we don't know, then
it feels to me like it's a someone we don't know story. I don't think we're supposed to guess who it is.
Okay. Okay.
What?
Okay.
Well, that's what I think.
Okay.
Anyway, that was it for Sam. Nice to see him again, and blah 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 blah. That's it, really. So, more to come with that next week. That is the end of our 8 stories this week. And Gemma, it is now time for us to rate it.
Yep.
Silence. I'm gonna go right in there and say that there wasn't very much that disappointed me on that this week. Literally, I would say I'm a bit sad with how they're portraying a very important issue of looking after the planet and making Toyah look like a bit of a nutcase. But on the other hand, I'm glad that story was in it. I'm never going to complain when Toyah and Spider are in the show.
I still really like Toyah. She's still my girl. I'm enjoying watching her and Spider. I want to know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So I'm finding that interested. I'm loving Stephen.
The only storyline this week that was a bit meh for me was the summer, and it wasn't that many scenes. So, go on. What were you saying?
Carry on.
No, I'll just say, the Stephen stuff was a lot of fun, adding Jenny into the mix tonight was pretty sublime, I would say. Aadi and Kelly, the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah.
So I am going to give this week's Coronation Street 4 fully combobulated Jennies out of 5. Nothing megally hugely dramatic, but just an all-round solid, satisfying week for me.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, I was thinking 3.5, but I wanted to give it like 3.75. But I can't do that, can I?
No. So what are you going to do?
I'm going to give it 3.5. Climate terrorists called A Dyl-emma.
Is the half a climate terrorist glued himself to something and then tried to get up and ripped himself in two?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
I feel like this character who's like being built up as some kind of like evil Monopoly man who like bounces around the board but leaves like a greasy stain of crude oil every time he lands. It feels like he's a cartoon character.
It feels like he's going to be a Captain Planet villain, isn't he?
Yeah, also like somebody out of Carmen Sandiego or something like that. You know, international climate terrorist.
Yeah.
The notorious Audi, who like, oh, what was that? There was another one. I've forgotten what it was. But yeah, him like he travels the world with like this evil bold cat in a tugboat that like constantly puffs smoke out of the top for no reason whatsoever, and then like everywhere it goes, like a little rainbow shimmer of oil follows him.
Who's the character of the week?
A Dyl-emma.
No, he's not in it. You can't have him. I'm like, there's lots that it could be. It could be Stephen for the pure entertainment value. Sometimes unintended comedy.
Stephen's my character of the week because of his Highland Games bin slinging. And I feel really bad that I said the wrong pronunciation of the word that I can't remember how to say anymore. Sorry, everybody.
I like Stephen. Also Stephen was great this week because he's now put the nail in the coffin of Jenny and Leo, really, hasn't he? Because Leo's going to find out and that's going to cause all
but
kind
Leo's
of
so boring and desperate, they'll probably forgive her.
I don't care. Nice try, Stephen. No. You didn't realise what you were doing, but thank you very much for getting in between those two. Jenny also was great, although I suppose she was more of a main player in the back end of the week. Aadi was awesome for sticking up for his Kelly.
Yeah.
And standing by his girl.
Dev.
Kelly was cool.
Dev.
There was so much. Toyah, I applaud her spirit.
That's so patronising.
I know, sorry.
Can I just say, Friday's her shirt, I hated it so much. I know that it's bad for the environment, but I wanted to burn it.
Who shall I give credit to? I'm going to give it to Stephen, just because of that bin flinging scene. It was epic. It was memorable.
He was so scary. It's funny because he's, how old is he? 60?
I guess so.
Oh man, he's strong.
He had a lot of power behind him.
He's like one of these guys who's like every year gets stronger, more wily old man strength, and he's so big.
I don't know if he was scary.
Oh, he's scared.
I just imagine say Pat Phelan doing that scene, and it would have come across as scarier. I don't think I would have laughed if Pat Phelan had flung bins around. So there was something about Todd Boyce's delivery of it that added a bit of
in terror.
I don't know. Anyway, so Stephen it is for both of us. A 4 from me.
Love Stephen Reid. What a 2022 revelation.
Yep. Nice idea to bring him back.
Brilliant. I love it. I'm smiling every day knowing that I live in a world where Stephen Reid's flinging bins around Weatherfield and drinking out the drip tray.
He's from it's a good job that a load of litter didn't come spewing out of the bin as well.
And he would
have
had
Toyah on his case, wouldn't he?
Yeah. Toyah just appears out of nowhere. What are you doing? Don't you know? You're a notorious polluter.
The council provides these bins for a specific purpose.
Maria comes out
and it isn't for you to take your rage out on.
Maria pops up going, Separate the recycling. That should have been in the glass bin anyway.
Right. Time to move on. That is our street talk for this week.